Good afternoon, my little couch potatoes, and welcome back to the comfiest courtroom on the internet. I'm your host, Llama, and it's time for dramatic testimony, overruled objections, and absolutely unqualified opinions. Look, I can count on my fingers too. Seems to be a theme for today. Anyway, grab your comfiest blankets, your delicious snacks, and get ready to watch court with your internet besties. This is Couch Court with Llama, everybody. I hope we all made it in our portals during lunch. Hope everybody got to watch Midday Missing today, and hopefully you guys are all sharing the flyers on social media, as they were 2 cases out of Massachusetts. So thank you all for who stuck around and went there. I figured I'd start a couple minutes early because I was just sitting here like do. So I was like, whatever. I think we're starting to develop like a codependency chat. We have some codependency issues going on over here. Well, I did come back with a whole thing of coffee, but I'm also double fisting, and I got a large glass of midday Moscato since Terry said I had to probably be drunk for tonight's members only. So why not? It's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. We can start happy hour a little early today, especially since we're watching a live takedown between our favorite attorney, Alessi, and Dr. Judson Welcher. Oh boy, can't wait. Can't wait. Yay. Okay, the portal worked for you guys today. Oh, I spoke too soon. It worked for some of you, not for the others. I don't know. YouTube does what it wants. Does what it wants. Oh. YouTube does what it wants, like Aperture and Bev. Very true. That's a good one. That is a good one. Oh, the portal worked for you. Okay, great. Let's all make room on the couch as our friends come in and join us. Shanka. So I have a theory about the guy in the suit by the podium. He could possibly be a Fed. He has the federal agent look. He also looks like he's 15, which I don't think he is. I think he is an adult, but Feds is interesting. Maybe he's an intern for someone and they're just, he's just in there every day. I don't know. Angie says that one of the media said maybe they were an aide to the attorneys or court or something. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Nothing like wine and coffee. That's pretty much what I drank a lot of. So, and Elbow hasn't went and gotten margaritas yet. Just kidding. I don't even know if he's going to go out and get those. Well, I have 2, so I don't drink my wine too quickly because it was the end of that last bottle. So that's true. It is still morning for you. I don't have Bailey's. I don't know if I should start drinking that early in the morning, though. It does, Parabet. That's true. On Christmas, that's how I like my coffee. Well, anyway, who's ready to watch this guy get decimated by Alessi? Oh, you know what I forgot to turn on this morning? Here, guys, his comments. Or wait, I heard it beat this side. Oh, stupid mirror camera thing. Anyway, yes, he's definitely, I think Alessi's going to be on cross all day with this guy. I don't think this guy's getting released over back to Brennan until after the morning. Oh, boy. This guy. Am I crazy? It's been a while since I've been in school. Like, a long time. A long time. Well over 20 years. But when he was like, oh, you start with a bunch of different hypotheses and then put the data in, that's not how I remember that working, right? Like, you have one, and then you just try to prove that one for the whole experiment. But, I wasn't in like AP science, but I feel like that's what I remember anyway. But who knows? Things have changed since then. That's for darn sure. Oh, yes, yes. If you guys are coming in, be sure to hit the like button because now that this is a whole new stream, we need people to know we're live again and where the party's at for the algorithm. So, yes, please hit that like button. I'd appreciate it a ton. Question: do you pick trials you broadcast follow? What's the next big one on the docket? That's an excellent question, Meditations. So we just started covering trials here on this channel with Karen Reed. Now, I've watched trials like the last 4 years. And here's the thing with trials, okay? You can plan all you want, all right? But you will quickly learn that court does not care to plan anything, okay? They could be like, oh, trials set for next Wednesday. And guess what? It's not for another 2 months because that's how the court is. Now, when Karen Reed is going to be over, it's going to be interesting timing. One that I'm interested in watching is the Lori Daybell-Vallow trial. This will be her third trial, where it's about the assassination attempt on Brandon Boudreaux. Oh, my Louisiana friends are going to yell at me for that. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that right. And she's representing herself. She's pro se, which is what she did a month ago on her second trial for the murder of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. That's right. Lori Vallow comes with a body count. Oh, I did say it right. Oh, look at that. Okay, I got approval. Yeah, Lori's good to watch because she is pro se. She's representing herself. We actually don't know much about the attempted assassination on Brandon Boudreaux. The details, anyway, we're not sure. So that's one I would like to watch. But again, it just depends with Karen here. I don't know of any high profile ones starting in mid-June, but we do have our team on it to see what we could watch next. Sometimes you just don't know until the day of because they can plea out at any point in time. It's very hard. But the next big trial for this year is Bryan Kohberger in Idaho. And I have every intention of covering that trial. It is a death penalty trial. So I find those to be very interesting to watch because it has to have a death qualified jury. They're allowed to bring in things that you normally wouldn't be allowed to because the consequence is death. So I think it's very interesting to watch death penalty trials. It's going to be 3 months long. Yeah, which is usually pretty standard for death penalty cases with multiple victims. That's the Idaho 4. Maybe you've been familiar about it. But also what I might do, because I haven't stayed up to date in Bryan Kohberger in probably over a year. So what we might do leading up to that, it's supposed to jury selection is supposed to start July 31st. But there's some drama going on because Dateline did a documentary about Bryan Kohberger in the Idaho 4 last week. And Dateline had some information they should not have had because that trial has a gag order on everybody. And somehow they got a hold of some stuff they shouldn't have. So the judge, last time I checked, wanted to call in every single person to ask them about it. So I'm not sure on the update on that, how that's going, but it's going to be interesting. So, and sometimes, we like to watch the more popular trials. Oh, Maxwell Anderson starts. Oh, I think it started yesterday. That's an interesting one out of Wisconsin. But sometimes, they may not be high profile, but they're still very fascinating to watch. And so we just kind of got to wait and see what the court looks like until then. Because you just never know. Never know at all. I wonder if Lori will from her cell to the courtroom. Yeah, if you're not familiar with Lori Daybell, buckle up when you go down that rabbit hole. But it's crazy. She's crazy. Just crazy. So, oh yeah, what did James Patterson, who did he write a book? Is that on Kohberger? I'm assuming Maxwell is who you're talking about there. Yeah, I think jury selection started. Oh, we got the fan back. That's nice. Oh, yes. Hi, Coda. Welcome back. Glad you found us. Yeah, she is something else. Something else. But I love it. We did watch, yeah. So before we started Couch Court with Alma on this channel, on our Discord server, we had a YouTube channel too where we watched the last Lori Vallow trial together when we were just kind of goofing around. And then it turned into this. So you can always go on our Courtyard YouTube channel and watch the last Lori Vallow trial that ended, because that's why I was able to that's why I was able to cover Karen Read, because Lori Vallow's trial was supposed to go on for a long time. It lasted a week and a half because she didn't call any witnesses or herself, which was very disappointing. I know earlier I was like, defendants should never go. You're right. But also, she killed her kids. So don't care. Don't care. I want her to take the stand and hear her nonsense. I agree. It bothers me that it's Vallow as well. The fact that she could even say Tylee's name and act like she was a caring mother in the last trial for Charles Vallow was infuriating. Infuriating. The fact that you could do that after knowing damn well what happened to your daughter, disgusting. The Lori Vallow courtroom feed was horrible, if I remember. Zoom. I don't think it was that bad, but I think that's when I was using the volume booster, the plugin that people can use to make it louder. So I might have been using that when we watched it. But oh, that woman. Don't care for her. Welcome back, Mama Llama. Welcome back. Yeah, so you guys, if you like hanging out with us on here, on the stream, in chat, pretty much everybody in chat is also on our Discord server, the Courtyard. It's where we hang out a lot. We watch stuff together. We're trying to get together. Sherry Papini has a new documentary that started, if you know who she is. She's also a liar, pants on fire. But we are going to try to get together sometime later this week or weekend and watch that together in there, where we're going to be super snarky. And yeah, we're trying to do more stuff over in the Courtyard. I'm thinking about doing a murder mystery party, which is exciting. I do love those. Ugh. Yes. It did feel gross. I hated it. Lori Vallow. She's the worst. So maybe we'll watch that one if there isn't another trial going on. I mean, if it already started, we can always, we could watch it after the fact, because then we could zoom through all the sidebars and recesses and stuff. So we could totally do that. But I do, because Koberger's case is very complicated, I am thinking about doing a couple days, weeks before the trial starts, where we can go over the information and maybe watch some of these pretrial hearings to get a better idea of what's going on. So I know some of the staff and I have talked about that. So we're in works to seeing, like, what are we going to do after Karen Read? And if you guys have any suggestions for trials, send them my way. You know, I would love to stream what you guys are interested in too. The only thing I don't stream is well, I don't want to say don't. There could be one where I might do, but honestly, I don't really like doing cases that are about kids. I've watched numerous of them, and I'm a mom. I'm just a normal mom. No, they really kind of mess me up and make me not want to watch trials afterwards, because they can be really, really hard and really dark. So I know a lot of people are interested in the Madeline Soto one, and I'm just not really into that. Other people cover it, and listen, if I'm not covering a trial, you can go watch it with. I won't be upset. I won't be upset, but that's just like one area where I'm just like, yeah, I don't think I can mentally do that, because they've been hard. The Gannon Stouch one, oh, broke my heart. I was messed up for a while after that. It's so horrible. So But other than that, I'll take any other ones. Will you stream the case of Texas versus Terry True Crime? Uh-oh. What have you done during the break? But yes, I will. I will happily stream any of my friends' trials. So we'll see. We'll see what's coming up around the bend. Oh, it's all Karen. And by the way, Zoe is not next to me. She's now been moved to the bedroom to lay on the bed. So just wait for tonight. Great. I'm loving this so much. You guys, that will be my cry. Oh no. Oh no. So we're doing a members only tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on True Crime and Wine Time channel. It's going to be me and Terry. She's planned the whole thing, and I don't know what that means. Don't know what that means at all, but I've been told it's going to be amazing. So definitely come hang out with us after that. I don't know how we could be more candid, but I feel like things are said. Inside jokes will be made, right? You don't want to have FOMO. So become a member and join. Something about you click the join button and you'll see tiers. And then if you can't join, that's okay too. If you can turn on your gift settings, there's like 3 little dots. And you click gift membership settings and you just turn that little thing on. Because our chat is very generous and gives memberships all the time. So, oh goodness. What should she attend? The members only? Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, Dope Meditation's first trial was Casey Anthony, then Jodi Arias. Yeah, can't top those. Alex Murdaugh was good too. Yeah, I've watched both of those before as well. Alex Murdaugh's was very good. I have an unpopular opinion about it. I don't think he killed his wife and son. I think he was there and knows what happened, but I don't think they actually proved it to me. But that's just me. That's my unpopular opinion. We all have them. It's okay. We're all welcome to our opinions. Some of the other ones that were good was the Rittenhouse trial was very interesting. And that was a very, very interesting trial. I highly recommend watching and that one. That was pretty interesting in real time. The Daryl Brooks one is amazing and infuriating. Like you cannot get. I've told everyone else that I was like, hey, you need to watch this. And I was like, prepared to the levels of angry that you couldn't possibly even imagine of Daryl Brooks. Like I was watching it and just yelling at my TV all day, every day. It was wild. It was wild. Jodi Arias is so bizarre, isn't she? Who was the other one that we just watched that we were like, oh, could you imagine if they were teaming up with Aries? I don't know. Yeah, and if you guys want to meet me and Terry True Crime in person, I mean, I guess I'm cool in person. You guys can get tickets to our Ohio show. They're reasonably priced. There's a whole, tier. Try to make them as affordable as possible. And we'll be there in person covering the unsolved murder of Joey LaBute. So it'll be very awesome. And tickets are already being bought, which is so cool. But make sure you get yours because it's a very small venue. It's like 40 to 50 people. So, Letitia. Oh, that trial was so hard to watch, you guys. Freaking Letitia stopped. Oh, that woman is garbage. Shabusiness. Taylor Shabusiness. Oh, what a gem she was, right? There's another Wisconsin case about dismemberment. Like, what is going on in Wisconsin? I need to know. What's he back in court for again? Who knows? Celebrity cage matches. Oh, you guys remember Celebrity Death Match? It used to be on MTV. Freaking love that. I don't know why they haven't brought that back. I think they should. I'd watch it. Oh, Dr. Lewis. Oh, Dr. Lewis. What were we watching group where Dr. Lewis was brought up and I was just like, oh, okay. Was she with oh Natalia Grace? I think maybe. No. There's somebody that was claiming they had DID and different personalities. Oh, I forget who it was. It'll come to me later. Oh, he was there for appeals, representing himself in appeals. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, Daryl. Okay. Interesting. Could you imagine? Oh my gosh. Yes, guys, if you haven't yet, hit the like button. Most people know we're up. We got the ceiling fan going. You remember she said 15 minutes, and we are now 13 minutes behind. Thanks, Beth. Since I haven't seen Bobby V around today, we'll just say it together. Thanks, Beth. Thanks. Oh, oh boy, you guys. Oh, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, will be a True Crime and Wine Time. Terry and our lovely Captain, who you see in chat, will be telling us the story about a dentist turned serial killer, Glennon Engelman, which I know nothing about, and I'm very interested to see what they have to tell us. So I'll be there. I'll be running the show behind the scenes because sometimes I'm not on camera, which seems to be less and less these days. But I'm very excited to hear this. I am not familiar with that. So if we have a fear of dentists, this may not help, but I think it'll be very interesting. Oh, Dr. Lewis thought Bundy was innocent because his alters committed the murders and he had DID. Her documentary is eye-opening. Yeah, but I don't think that was the case with him. There she is. It's Cap. She says it's okay. I doubt that. I bet it's pretty good. I'll take a gander at things sometime in the next 24 hours, I guess. I think it'll be a great show. Cap'n did the Zizians with us a couple episodes, which is great. By the way, for our new people, if you don't know anything about the Zizian cult, we did a very lengthy multi-part series into the Zizian cult. So you can go listen to it. There's a whole playlist. We deep dive. Like, I can't even tell you the amount of hours I personally researched for it, let alone everyone else that worked on the show too. So it's about this all broke in January when there was a border patrol shooting up in Vermont. And they started uncovering that this was actually, these people were members of a group called the Zizians. That's not what they call themselves, but they were dubbed that. Long story. You're going to have to go check it out. But they're a trans, anarchist, vegan, rationalist group. It's so bizarre. All right. The leader, Ziz, she had a blog and we read a lot from that blog. It's a lot of what are you guys saying? I mean, they thought they had mental tech where they could change your brain, where like one hemisphere was female, the other was male, and they would fight one another. You'd have to kill one. I mean, there's like 8, was it 6 people that died or 8? I think 6 people died, 7 people in jail currently, and 2 are MIA. All right, here you go. Yeah, you heard me. Take a moment to reorient. I'll be right. It's fascinating. It's one of the most wild things I've ever researched.
Dr. Welcher.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you again.
Same.
Oh,
we had left off talking about some examples of Newton's second law and the application of it in the parlance of force equals mass times acceleration. And I now want to continue on with that discussion.
There we go.
It is correct that you can conduct a force analysis on any part of the body, correct?
I mean, it's more difficult on internal with live people. Like if you wanted like my appendix, I really necessarily couldn't.
Let's talk about the musculoskeletal system,
Oh, okay.
the outside bones. You can conduct a force analysis
So your
on any
bones are on
bone.
the inside.
Sir, if I could finish my question, please.
Okay.
You can conduct a force analysis on any bone in the body, correct?
More or less, yes.
So the force analysis I use as a synonym with Newton's second law is not exclusive to the head, correct? You can do it on other bones in the body, correct?
Correct.
On
That's
direct
true.
examination, your direct examination here, you did not present a force calculation representing what you allege to be contact between the vehicle and Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, did you?
Correct.
And nowhere in your report do you present a force calculation for Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, do you?
Correct. We didn't have enough information to do it.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Now, given that you stated that, quote, determining the effects of physical forces on the human anatomy, end quote, is the job of a biomechanical engineer, you must have conducted several force calculations related to accidents involving humans in your career, correct?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Now, you didn't present a force calculation in your materials, as you've stated on direct, with regard to the arm, and I'll include in the right arm going from the shoulder all the way to the tip of the hand, okay? So that's my definition of a right arm. You didn't present any force calculation on that part of the body of Mr. O'Keefe, did you?
Correct.
Assume, and we're going to apply Newton's second law. Assume Mr. O'Keefe's hand weighed 7 pounds. So that's the M in the F equals MA.
That's not a good assumption.
Well, what number would you like to apply for an M for the hand of Mr. O'Keefe? I'll take any number you got.
Just the hand?
Just the hand.
Oh, the whole arm of Mr. O'Keefe weighs approximately 12 pounds.
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't know that.
So the whole arm is either from the shoulder down to the tip of the fingers is about 12 pounds, right?
Correct.
Okay. So assume that the Lexus SUV was traveling at 20 miles an hour. All right? Under your theory going backwards, 20 miles an hour. And the third variable I'd like to give you is to assume an impact window of 10 milliseconds.
Okay.
Can you calculate the G's of force from that data?
You need more information.
Well, let me ask you this. What more information would you need?
So we talked about the glancing impact.
I'm talking about a force calculation of an impact, not as to whether it's glancing or not.
So you want a direct head-on impact in the arm, not a glancing hit to where the Lexus comes in, hits the arm, and they continue off together?
I'd like to start with that, but just so we can hopefully expedite it for the jury.
Okay.
I'm going to want to get to what you have depicted in your diagram of having holding the arm out. And that's not a glancing impact, is that, sir, with the right arm in parallel with the back of the Lexus?
Yes, it is. So really I'm sorry, let me finish, please. What you're concerned about is where the center of mass is. With the center of mass out towards the corner of the car, that becomes a glancing contact. So you don't have a center of mass contact, you have a glancing contact.
Okay, fair enough. Well, so let's start the first force calculation.
I need my calculator.
I'm going to let him use his calculator.
Sure.
Okay,
I need my calculator.
go ahead.
So let's take a scenario where it's a center of impact,
Center of mass.
center of mass impact, right?
Okay.
Impact to the right arm.
Okay.
Let's start with that one.
Okay. And you want me to use like a 10 millisecond?
Yeah, be conservative. Yeah, let's use a 10 millisecond for
Okay.
the impact window.
Math time. It's dog in the fight, Lady and Greg. Get it right. Gosh. Just kidding. He said that earlier. Phil Lessie. I mean, he has misspoke more often than he has the other days. That's for sure.
Okay. Question?
What do you get for F of force in the F equals M times A calculation?
About 2,188 pounds. I made a triangular crash pulse assumption.
Right, and if you took the milliseconds in half, become less conservative, would you end up doubling the 2188 number?
If you cut it in half, you would double, yes.
Exactly, through a simple mathematical, semi-algebraic application of the numbers, correct? You
Correct.
divide,
We're doing a little simplification in terms of the crash
Yeah.
pulse shape,
That's
but
right.
generally, yes.
right. So, but let's take the conservative number, the lower number, 2188 that you came up with. Do you know from the literature, as you did with the head, you went to the literature and said, this is how much pounds of force the F you would get to have to cause a break at the occipital bone. Do you know from the literature how much force it would take to break an arm bone?
I have an idea, yes.
What is your idea?
So for a distributed load, such as this, not a concentrated load, you're going to need somewhere between, I've seen, and this is for cadaver tests, a low of like 2,500, maybe a little lower, to a high of 7,000.
Sir, you have switched, haven't you? We're talking about center mass impact. Did you in your calculation just switch to a side swipe impact? to
No.
do your calculation?
No.
I'm asking about a center of mass impact. How much force would you need? Let's start with the hand. Maybe it's a simpler one. Do you know how much force it takes to break, any of the hand bones, you know what I'm referring to, the phalangeals?
Yes.
The metacarpals, and the carpals?
Correct.
How much pounds of force do you need to break any one of those bones?
Actually, I didn't find any distributed loading on the amount of force. I don't know.
Well, no, I understand, but I'm asking, do you know from the literature, not a calculation? Doesn't the literature tell you? Can't you go to the literature like you did with the head and you say, okay, to break the occipital bone, the literature says you need a minimum amount of force of this. I'm asking you the same question for the hand. If you don't know, it's okay, but do you know what the literature says for how much force is needed to break a bone in the hand?
So for a distributed load across the hand, there are distributed load tests that show you need over 300 Gs on the arm to do that. So it would depend on the mass of the hand.
What is the range of force that you would need to break a bone in the hand? Do you know from the literature? If you don't, that's okay.
I could probably figure it out.
How long would it take you to figure it out? Do you know from the literature what that number is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Is 300 to 400 pounds of force sound right from the literature that it would take to break a bone in the hand?
For a distributed load,
Yes.
such as the taillight, no.
No, not a distributed load. A load from a motor vehicle going backwards.
Right, that's a distributed load.
Right. So you're saying 300 to 400 pounds of force would not be enough to break any bone in the hand. Is that your answer?
So for a flat distributed load, like hitting the taillight, you're gonna need higher.
How about another part of the back of the vehicle?
I guess if you hit on the very corner and it wasn't a distributed impact, like if you had a more concentrated impact,
Yes.
that could increase or decrease the amount of force required.
How much would it decrease it from the number you gave?
Depends on what you're hitting, what it's made out of.
The
Contact
Lexus
area.
SUV. Let's assume, I'm sorry.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. Thank you. Let's assume we're talking about this Lexus SUV,
Mhm.
right? But let me back up. You don't know where exactly, under your theory, that there was a contact. You don't know, you testify to on direct. You don't know exactly where that point of contact is.
Correct,
You don't know.
except it's on the taillight.
Well, you're saying it's on the taillight, but you didn't observe any impact yourself personally, right?
Did I see Miss Reed's Lexus?
You didn't see the impact, correct?
That is correct.
So, and there is no firsthand witness that saw, under your view, that a collision occurred. There's no witness to say where the arm was, right?
There's no person that saw it.
Right. And you have chosen a point of contact, okay? You chose that for your analysis, correct?
Correct?
And you picked that location, but it's also possible that under your theory that a collision occurred, that that arm could have been impacted any part of the back of the vehicle. That's possible, isn't it?
That's not probable, no.
I'm asking, is it possible?
Anything is possible. I don't deal in possibilities, I deal in probabilities. It's not probable.
So, but you don't know exactly where the point of impact was.
So within the range of the light and the exact angle of the hand, no, I don't. What I do know is at the rear tail light area.
So your assumption is that it had, that because there's a tail light that is altered, it must have been by Mr. O'Keefe's arm. That's your conclusion, correct?
My conclusion is there are tail light fragments, a broken glass, lacerations to his arm, and his DNA on the back of the vehicle in the area of the tail light.
Sir, and Your Honor, I'm going to move to strike the DNA part of that answer for obvious reasons.
I'm not going to strike it.
Okay, so you're making assumptions. You're taking what you view to be certain data, and you're coming to a conclusion. But that is based upon circumstantial information, correct? Is that fair?
Are you calling like pieces of the taillight at the scene around his body circumstantial information?
Sir, let me go to the force and go back to the force analysis. Let's go back to the numbers. I want to stay on, if we can, just the calculation. So let's go back to the minimum amount of force you understand from the literature that it takes to break any bone in the arm from the finger up. Let's start with a hand. What's the minimum amount of force that can be applied to break a bone in the hand?
So it depends on the loading. So I don't actually know. In terms of the forearm, I can tell you there's data that shows up to 300 Gs of loading, you will not get fractures. There's one up to 750 Gs showing no fractures for a male of similar height and weight of Mr. O'Keefe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's take those numbers,
Okay.
okay? You said 300 and 750. Did I hear it correctly?
You did?
Okay, that's the numbers you gave that would break a bone, correct?
So the 300 actually didn't break any bones, I believe. The 750, the one example, didn't break a bone, but as you got above 350, you started to break bones.
So
300.
you got above 350,
300.
above 300, yeah, because that's what I thought you said the first time. You got above 300, you start to get breaking bones, correct?
Correct.
And so if you take that 300 number and compare it to the 2,188 pounds of force, you have 7 times the amount of force necessary to break the bone, correct, in the force analysis?
No. If you take 300 Gs times a 12-pound arm, you get 3,600 pounds. The calculation you asked me to run earlier gave you 2,188 pounds.
Right.
So you are 1,412 pounds above the force required. Like the tolerance is 1,412 pounds above the force you would say get in a 20-mile-an-hour impact in terms of the fracture forces.
Let's do it this way.
I'm sorry?
Let's do it this way.
Okay.
The force that you calculated from my hypothetical of this Lexus SUV going backwards, you came up with the F number of 2,188, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't, what was the, you said?
2,180.
You said dyslexic? Or do you say Lexus? I didn't understand what you said.
The Lexus
My apologies.
SUV that you've been talking about,
Gotcha.
okay?
I didn't hear
You
it.
came up with a number for F for force of 2,188. Are you changing that number?
Nope.
Okay,
absolutely
so
not.
let's go with your number of force from this vehicle of 2,188. I'm just simply asking, how much force does it take to break a bone in the right arm of a human being? How much force, not acceleration, how much force does it take to break a bone in the right arm?
Sure. So somewhere between 2,500, the one cadaver tested the distributed load of someone of similar size and weight, and actually close in age to Mr. O'Keefe, showed about 7,000 pounds of force to break it.
Let's go to the hand. Do you disagree that the literature shows it only takes 300 to 400 pounds of force to break a bone in the hand? Do you disagree with that?
Your question's too general. I can't answer your question. It depends on the loading. If I take my pencil, which has a very fine point, and jam it through my hand, I can jam it right through my hand because it's a very small point. But if I distribute the load in a broader load, such as hitting a taillight, it takes much more force because the load's distributed across it. It's like if I sit on the corner of my bed. I might sink in this far when I sit on the corner of my bed, but what happens when I spread my load out, when I lay on my bed like this? I don't sink in as far. Has my weight changed? And weight is basically force. No, but I've distributed it over a larger area. So for a given force, you get less sinking into the mattress. So if you hit a broad surface like a taillight or a wall like this, it takes much more force than if I were to take a singular small round object and jam it into the hand. That hurts. This does not.
Okay, if you can hear my question, if it's unclear, you tell me. For not a pen, not your bed, but for a Lexus SUV of 6,000 pounds, is there any part of the back of the Lexus in any manner where you can get a break to the hand from 300 to 400 pounds of force?
Any part on the back of the Lexus?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay. So probably, your words, you can get a break to the hand from just between 300 to 400 pounds of force. That's what you just said, correct?
So you're taking the totality of the back of it? Like if you got it stuck in the bumper? Potentially, yeah. But from a taillight or a broad flat surface? No.
I'm not asking about a taillight. Any part of the back of an SUV, you agree that it is probable that you can get a break of the hand bones from just 300 to 400 pounds of force.
Your question is incomplete, right? You said any part of the back, but then you wanted me to not include taillights or not include the rear body panel. If you hit a very narrow part of the car, like say the edge of the tailpipe, that creates much more of a narrow contact. So force divided by area is pressure. So if you have a very tiny area, you have very high contact pressures. And so, but if you distribute the load over a larger area, the number on the bottom of that fraction is much bigger. So your contact pressure drops. So hitting the edge of the exhaust pipe is going to have a much higher likelihood of causing a fracture than hitting flat against the taillight.
Okay, what we're going to do to make this more efficient, excuse me, sorry. Mr. Will, can you pull up a slide from Mr. Wilt's or Dr. Welcher's presentation for the back of the Lexus, please? The back hatch, and Your Honor, may we publish that?
Sure. Do you know what number though, Mr. Lessis?
Mr. Wilt does, and
And
I
then
know
he'll
you
tell
need it, so
us.
he'll tell me before I publish, and then we'll give you the number.
Your Honor, may I look here?
Yes, I'm going to let Dr. Welcher look at his slide
Oh, sure.
here
Yeah.
instead of just up there.
The back hatch, yes. Do you have one of just the rear gate? The one measuring the height, maybe? There we go. Thank you. Okay, this is your slide presentation. Is there any part of the back of the Lexus SUV that has that more concentrated area where if the hand hit it, 300 to 400 pounds of force could break it? Is there any part, for example, the edge of the license plates, above the license plates, the L symbol that sticks out that would be concentrated? Anything you see there, could 300 to 400 pounds of force contacting at any of those points cause a fracture of any of the bones of the hand?
So, I don't know how to show this because in the middle photograph, right where the 2 is on the license plate,
Yes.
there's a vertical edge. That area is recessed in. So if you hit right on that vertical edge, that could potentially do it.
That could do it. How about the L of for the Lexus symbol if the hand is there?
No, it's not deep enough. The compliance of the hand is just going to sink into the car.
Is there any other part other than the license plate that the force applied, you would only need 300 to 400 pounds of force to break the hand?
Maybe the exhaust pipe, and potentially if you hand your hand up near the spoiler.
Right. So now let's go from 300 to 400. Let's go to the 2188, which is your number. use 2188. Is there any place where in 2188 force you could have a fracture of the hand on that back gate?
Just to be clear, 2188 is a number I calculated for you. It's not, quote, my number.
I understand, but we did.
So-
I understand, but we did the calculation. Is there anywhere on the back of the vehicle where 2188 could cause a fracture of the hand?
So that was a forearm fracture tolerance I thought we were talking about, because we used the weight of the whole arm for that.
We did. And my question is there anywhere in the back of the vehicle, in your opinion, that could cause a fracture with that?
I'm sorry, what, to the hand? Just the hand or the whole arm?
I'll take any part of the right arm. You call it the hand, the forearm. Is there any part that could cause a fracture?
So probably similarly, if you got your forearm down near that transition, like, I don't know if you can see the little dot. I'm talking about this area.
Yes. Yes.
Right here.
Yep.
So that transition between the two body panels.
Yes.
That could potentially do it. That's back where the reverse lights are. I'd have to look at whether, that would take it before breaking the plastic. And then, again, maybe if you hit the exhaust pipe as well, it's a much more narrow loading condition.
How about the corner of the tail lamp?
Corner of the tail lamp. I suppose if you had just your hand on the very, very corner, potentially.
Potentially. But you didn't do any of that force analysis for this case, did you?
For the hand, no.
But you did it for the head, correct?
Correct. Because that I'm able to quantify.
Mr. Alessi, that was slide 108. I just want to
I'm
keep.
sorry,
the
Your
record.
Honor. Yes, Mr. Wolf. Yes,
All right, thank you.
thank you. You are aware, Dr. Welcher, that Mr. O'Keefe suffered no fractures of any kind in his hand, correct?
So there were no fractures noted in the autopsy report, but they didn't actually x-ray, from the records I've seen, either his hand or his arm. So there was, at least according to the autopsy report, no overt fractures, but the x-rays I saw, none of them were of the arm, and the autopsy report said no sternum, spine, I think it said torso. They didn't say that there were no fractures there.
Was there any evidence in the medical records that you reviewed of any indication whatsoever of a fracture in Mr. O'Keefe's hand?
No,
Was there any indication whatsoever in any of the medical records you reviewed that there was a fracture of any bone in the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe?
not that I saw. Again, it wasn't x-rayed.
Was there any indication in the medical records and the autopsy that you say you reviewed of any fracture of any bone anywhere in the body of Mr. O'Keefe,
Yes.
other than the occipital bone or the skull?
There's a couple bones in the skull that were fractured, but other than the skull, no.
Correct. So, are you aware that the medical examiner for the state of Massachusetts,
That's very funny, Kelly.
Fellow, performed an autopsy on Mr. O'Keefe? Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And you're aware of it because you read the autopsy report, correct?
Correct.
Are you implying, and it's a question, that Dr. Scorty Bello missed a fracture or didn't look properly for a fracture on Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I'm simply indicating that, for example, a hairline fracture, I didn't see any evidence that they actually x-rayed the structure, so there'd be no overt evidence of that.
There were wounds on the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
And you are saying that the medical examiner should have x-rayed that to determine whether there was a hairline fracture? Is that your testimony?
No, you're asking me about evidence and proof of absence of fracture. So I would look for an x-ray to see if that was the case. I haven't seen any evidence of an x-ray of the arms.
So it's your position that on every autopsy, there should be an x-ray of every bone in the body, and that the clinical judgment of the medical examiner should not be accepted, and there should be an x-ray of every bone before a conclusion can be drawn that there's no fracture to a bone in the body of the deceased. Is that your testimony?
Absolutely not. Like, I'm an engineer. You're asking me about proof. And so proof is somebody looked at it, somebody took an x-ray, somebody palpated it and found a comminuted fracture. So we're talking about proof.
Sir, I didn't use proof in my question.
You asked me about the opinion of a medical examiner. I'm not a
Hold
medical.
on. Only one person at a time. Mr. Alessi, let him finish, and then you can ask the question.
Your Honor, I hadn't finished my question.
Okay, then finish your question, Dr. Welcher. Wait for the question. Then let Dr. Welcher respond. It's a nightmare for medical.
I understand, and I think I've been doing that, but I'll redouble my efforts. Dr. Welcher, I didn't use proof in my question. I'm going to repeat the question. Is there any indication in any medical record, autopsy report of the deceased of any fracture of any bone in the body?
That was not your original question, but to answer your question, no. Except for the skull.
Except for the skull.
Correct.
Do you understand whether the absence of any fractures other than the skull of Mr. O'Keefe was of significance to the medical examiner, Dr. Scorti-Bello, in the conclusion she reached in the autopsy report that you read?
System.
Did you read the conclusions of Dr. Scorti-Bello in the autopsy?
I believe so.
Are you aware of whether Dr. Scorti-Bello has analyzed whether the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe are inconsistent or consistent with a motor vehicle impact? Are you aware of any analysis to that effect?
So I'm going to see you on this one.
I'm going to see you on a sidebar. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. You guys, this guy's so frustrating. I felt a little bad for having a midday Moscato already, but like, to be fair, what is happening with this guy? Why is this guy such a pain in the butt? He is very defensive, which, I mean, yeah, okay, I suppose. You know, somebody is critiquing your work, and I would probably be that way too, but he's also being very condescending at the same time. I mean, yeah, I'll say Alessi has lost me as well. But I don't know how much of it, well, not much of it's him and this guy going back and forth or what's happening, but it has been very super frustrating to watch. And you know what, buddy? The longer you sit on that stand, I know the more money you're going to bill the prosecution, but the more you're giving Alessi time to go back and review things. And so far, what I've seen of him is you do not want to give him time to go over things and come back and question you. No. Lady Grace says Walter was critical of the Emmy with that X-ray comment, which was unnecessary, and it isn't his field. Now, I do think it's rather interesting that they didn't have X-rays done on the arm, because I know usually they do. They'll scan the whole body and do that. So I do find that interesting that they don't exist, I guess, of the arm, considering that's where those injuries were, but I don't know. Yeah, he is feeling like they're trying to trap him into an answer. Do meditation says he is a SVP and came in like he was going to be a genius and figured out the case. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But again, like he didn't figure out anything about the case. He literally said so. He was like, "Oh, it could be anything. We don't know. We don't know." But he is being incredibly difficult, and I do think it's flustering Alessia a lot. I don't know if maybe it's because this guy has a lot of experience or, what's going on between the two of them. But I kind of feel like it's a bit of a pissing contest. So they do all feel like it's a trap. That's true. Yeah, they did nothing. If there are no x-rays, will they exhume the body? That's a good question. It's very difficult to get a body exhumed here in the States anyway. I don't know. They probably not, honestly, because they already know that it was most likely the head that was the cause. Well, head and hypothermia. Remember, it was undecided by the ME, but I don't think that they would necessarily win to exhume the body here in this scenario. It's very hard to do. Right, Cindy? That's what I want to know, the amount of force it takes to break the taillight. Thank you. That is one of the answers I want as well. But we're not getting them. So that's interesting. That is very interesting. So, a reminder that when objecting, Brennan, who is seated facing the court reporter, stands up before the question ends and immediately says, "Objection." Interesting. Yeah, we're very careful about who gets exhumed and why. Because it's a whole court process. Like the court has to sign off on it, you have to give arguments, and then they don't like to do it because it could be disturbing for the family as well. The family doesn't have to sign off on it, but it does help in most cases. Because like Bells has been saying, yes, the whole time we've all been listening to you, Bells girl. It's polycarbonate, which yes, I would like to know about that. I don't believe they brought it up. Maybe they have and I've missed it, but I don't think so. Sidebar defense, low energy in the jury box. I mean, probably because it's a little frustrating. That's true. A lot of people do find it disrespectful, but there are times where it just simply does need to happen. And that's usually if there was never an autopsy done, or if it's in a case where they've used poison or a drug, they'll go back in and like try to pull stuff out to like test it. But it can be incredibly difficult to do. They just ate too. I know I was over here snacking on some chips because I forgot to eat during our break. I was like, oh, I forgot to do that. I should have done that. No, they're not done for the day. Kelly, they're at a sidebar right now. You're only watching, unable to turn up the volume to listen. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, then I bet you didn't hear anything I just said. This guy is so difficult. Though I'm sure he's used to lawyers not coming at him this hard. So, but I do think Alessi's being a little hard to follow as well. It's very interesting to watch, that's for sure. For those of you watching, please like the video. Yeah, thank you. Listen to Kelly P here. Everybody be like Kelly P and hit the like button, y'all. And she's yelling in all caps, which means she is serious. Oh, goodness. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I wonder what they're talking about in Sidebar. I'm so nosy. Haley says lawyers have to become experts in most fields. It's very difficult. That is very true, right? If you want to give a good defense for your client, you got to start to familiarize yourself with stuff you didn't go to school for, or no. They're kind of Renaissance men, if you will, to be able to understand stuff. Because each case doesn't have like the same evidence and things like that. And it's very impressive. It's very impressive what they have to do. That is true. I do think Alessi's brain runs ahead of his speech and we all get left behind. That's true. He has had some misspeak. But you're just going to, yeah. I mean, they got to understand a lot of science stuff, which I'm assuming there's a reason they went to law school. The law school is very hard as well. It's quite impressive. And not only that, then you got to be like caught up on junk science and what can and can't be used. I don't know how they used to do it before the times of the internet. That'd be great.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Welcher, I would like to talk now about your paint exercise.
Ooh, paint exercise.
You did not present, as you have stated, a force calculation with regard to the arm. You did a paint exercise. And what I want to do is to reference, and if we need to bring it up, sir, to refresh you, slides 103 to 120 of your PowerPoint presentation in this trial. I'll just call it the blue paint exercise. Is that descriptive enough for you to know what I'm talking about?
No, it's not an exercise, it's a test.
Okay, you want to call it a blue paint test?
Sure.
Okay, let's call it a blue paint test. I just want to try to expedite things and use parlance that we can agree on.
Okey-doke.
So your blue paint test involved painting the right rear taillight blue, correct?
Correct.
Positioning the test subject behind the taillight, correct?
Correct.
With the arm held out, correct?
Correct.
And at a right angle, correct?
Correct.
And then the vehicle, the Lexus SUV, is backed into the test subject, correct?
So I ran 3 different tests.
I know. Well, let's just do each one at a time, okay?
Okay, so you're starting with the last one.
I'll start with whatever one you want.
Okay.
How about if we start with the one at 1 mile per hour?
None of them are at 1 mile an hour.
2 miles per hour?
2 miles an hour.
Let's do 2 miles per hour. Let's start with that one,
Okay.
okay? Now, did you conduct that test in an attempt to show that the injury patterns on Mr. O'Keefe's right arm are consistent with being struck by the Lexus taillight on that arm?
So generally, I wanted to show that the location, area, and span over which that headlight covers matches the location and area of the lacerations on his arm.
That's what I want to get to. So you discussed data that you say shows that you say shows the Lexus SUV was traveling above 20 miles per hour during the period that you allege the SUV made contact with Mr. O'Keefe. Is that correct?
No. Where'd you get that from?
Hold on. Okay. The answer is no. So did you do a test involving 20 miles per hour?
I did some other backing tests.
Yes.
I was looking at how the rear pedestrian system and what warnings you got from the rear pre-collision system, the PCS system.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that you did a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 2 miles per hour? Did you
Of course.
do that? Okay. You didn't do a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 20 miles per hour, correct?
That is correct. I
Okay.
was not going to hit myself with a Lexus at 20 miles an hour.
you could have done other tests where the vehicle was going at 20 miles per hour if you used a crash test dummy, correct? You
If
could have
you-
done that.
If you use the right crash test dummy, and then to set up the test, because generally you only get 1 or 2 shots at it, because you damage the car, you have to know everything about the parameters. And so again, pedestrian impacts are so very sensitive to initial angles. If I were to do a test and it was off a tiny, tiny bit, and we got some different results, I would be in here having to defend it. Well, your own testing didn't show it. Point is we don't have enough information to be able to conduct that testing.
So your assumption, as I understand it, is that the Lexus was going 24 miles per hour in reverse and made contact with Mr. O'Keefe. That's your analysis, sir?
No, there is not one single slide I have that says this is the speed he was hit at 24 miles an hour.
Do you know, do you have a hypothesis at what speed you believe there was impact? Do you have the point of impact speed?
I do not know the exact speed. We don't know the initial point of contact. We don't know where exactly he was on the road. We don't have enough information to determine that.
Let's talk about the other information you don't have.
Okay.
You don't have the information as to from your alleged point of contact to where Mr. O'Keefe landed. You don't have that information, do you, sir?
I'm sorry, where is my alleged point of contact?
You allege that there was a point of contact between the Lexus, the back of the Lexus, and
Correct.
Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Right, but I don't know where that is on the road.
You don't know that. I want to go through the information that you don't have.
Okay, dope.
So you don't have that. You don't have the point of impact. You don't have where in the road there was impact under your allegation.
Those are the same thing.
Right. You don't have where under your view, the body of Mr. O'Keefe landed precisely. You don't have that information, do you?
What do you mean by precisely? We know it's 7 feet off the road. We know it's near the flagpole. We don't know where it started. The problem isn't where it landed. The problem is where it started.
Right. And you don't have that information.
I don't have where it started.
He's like, huzzah! Thank you.
The paint tests that you used, aren't those used, if they're used at all, as an element of physical impact reconstruction, an element, not as the focal point of the test itself?
So that was the focal point of that test. The focal point of the purpose of that test was to show the contact width and location of how someone of Mr. O'Keefe's height, which happens to be me, contacts and where it would contact where the broken taillight was. So no, that was the focal point of the testing. That's why I did the testing. That's why we're calling it paint transfer testing.
Right, but my question, sir, I understand you use paint tests as the focal point, but aren't paint tests in accurate accident reconstruction not used as focal points? They're used as supplements to other tests to get more accurate information. Do you agree or disagree with that?
You didn't give me enough information. I can't agree nor disagree. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Let's go to, on direct examination, you testified that after the 1162-2 trigger event, Miss Reed's vehicle traveled a distance of 87 feet. Do you recall that?
You are mixing up two things. Remember, the trigger is in the middle of the event.
Give the chart, please. Your Honor, I'll give you the, as soon as Mr. Woke gives it, the slide 23, I believe it is.
I'm sorry, what slide?
Well, I want Mr. Wool to go through it to check. Let me ask it this way, see if we can get to it quicker. Do you remember talking on direct about a calculation of 87 feet where you added, there was like a 30-something number and a 50 number and you came to 87? Do you remember that in your slide presentation, sir?
Slide 37, yes.
Right. So if we could bring up that slide, please, Your Honor, with your permission.
Okay.
That's 36, but okay.
Oh my. He's like trying to correct him every chance he gets.
Are you on 33, sir?
No, I'm on 36.
Mr. Wolk, do you have 33? If you could go to 33, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because that's where your 87 number is, not on the other.
It's on a bunch of slides.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All righty. So if you could zoom in, Mr. Wolk, so Dr. Welcher can see the numbers in the column.
You're going the wrong way.
Yep. To the farther to the right.
Oh, I'm not the only one that has problems.
Okay.
You
Sir,
still
do
don't
you
have
remember testifying about this to the farther to the right?
it. Farther to the right.
Yep.
Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, a
Is
little
that
more.
53 number down there? That column?
Right.
So
Can
you
we
take-
can we scroll up a tad so you can see the headers? There you go.
Okay.
No, okay, go ahead.
So am I in the right column relative to start? Is that the column?
So there's two columns, like Z is relative to where it started. And then positive is forward. And then as you back up, once you go past 0, it becomes negative.
Right. So what I want to do is have you direct us to the column where you calculated 87 feet.
It's in two spots. It's at the end of column Y.
Right? We go all the way down. Is that in the yellow there? Is that 87, sir?
It is.
Okay. Is that the 87 number you were
Hold
referring
on a
to?
second. You asked me to identify it. So then it's see where the one next to it says minus 53.429.
Yes.
If you go up, so it's not a little bit down a little bit, and see where it's changing directions at 34.157.
Yes.
You add those two together, that gives you the same result. So it went 34 feet forward and then 50 something feet backwards.
Right. And what
This
is
is crazy.
the 87 feet traveled? Is that what you're indicating is the distance traveled during the trigger? Is that what the 87 represents to you?
That is so 87 represents the total rearward distance traveled during the trigger.
Okay. So you believe 87 represents the total rearward distance. Did I hear you correctly?
Correct.
Now, can you
Just
please-
hold on, to be clear. So it starts, it pulls forward, then it backs up, passes where it initially started, and goes 53 feet further back.
That's what I want to get to. How many feet
What?
did you say on direct, and did you just say now that it went 87 feet in reverse?
Correct.
Okay.
From its furthest point forward.
Well, that's what I want to get to because I want to have this point clear. How many feet do you believe the Lexus went in reverse based upon your PowerPoint presentation? Not when it went forward and then came backwards. How many feet do you believe that vehicle went in reverse?
Your question doesn't make any sense because when it went forward, then it went in reverse.
How many feet do you believe the Lexus went during the trigger?
So it went a total of 80, it went 34 feet forward, then it came back 80, or another 53 feet past where it went.
Exactly. So you've testified that the 1162-2 trigger event represents a backwards maneuver, correct?
So again, that was clear. It initially pulls forward and then backs up.
I would like you to define, so it's clear to the jury, do you consider the event of 1162-2 just backward movement, or do you consider the trigger to be forward movement and adding to it backward movement. Which one?
So can we pull the slide up?
Sure.
Could you zoom in? There you go. No, go back to the left. So that T in the third column for data ID represents the trigger. If you scroll over a little bit to the right, where the highlighted yellow blocks are, you can see 1 is a forward drive gear, 0 is neutral, 2 is reverse. So that's where it's switched from forward to reverse. I mentioned the brake. So you have it on the brakes coming in, slowing, stopping, going into reverse, and then backing up.
So you conclude that the vehicle for this trigger went 34 feet forward, is that correct?
Correct.
How do you know the vehicle didn't go 150 feet forward? How do you know it just went 30 feet, 4 feet forward? How do you know that?
So the only data we have is this 10-second window. And so we have the velocity when it's going forward. We know how much time it took to do that. So that tells us how far it would travel. Velocity times time is distance.
So are you saying that it is a certainty that it went forward 34 feet and there's no other number of feet it could have gone forward? You're absolutely certain of the 34 number?
No. Again, if you look, see where it says vehicle speed?
I see it.
So at the start of this event, which is the trigger -5, so the trigger is actually where it's triggered, and it takes 5 seconds before, 5 seconds after. But when the trigger happens, it's actually stopped. But the 5 seconds before, it's going 13.6 miles an hour forward. So at the start of the data, it's still going 13.6 miles an hour forward, but it's slowing down. You can see you have the brake, where it says brake SW, which is short for switch. The brake switch is a 1, which means it's on. So when this event data started, it's going 13 miles an hour.
I'll ask the question a different way. Are you certain that the distance traveled forward during this trigger event was 34 feet? Are you certain?
I'm pretty certain during this trigger event.
Pretty certain or certain?
Well, I've checked the math. I've had people check my math. So I try to be as accurate as possible. I would say I'm certain,
Okay.
but I'm an engineer. So there's no absolutes. There's no 100% in my job.
So you're certain of the 34 feet, and is it correct that you're certain of 53 feet going backwards? Are you certain of that, sir?
So backwards from its initial starting position.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And therefore you are certain of a total of 87 feet traveled that you have at the bottom in that yellow-orange. You're certain of that as well?
87 feet of backing, correct.
Makes me
Okay.
feel like Alessi's about to drop a bomb on him. You're like,
Now, you also testified on direct, as I understand it, in slide 23, that different numbers represent different gear states of the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
And a 0 represents neutral,
I think it's either neutral or park, but I'm pretty sure it's neutral.
a 1 represents drive,
Correct.
a 2 represents reverse,
Correct.
or a 2 can represent slowing down. Is that correct?
Not for a gear shift number.
So you didn't say on direct that 2 could represent reverse or slowing down.
God, I hope not. It doesn't. So those numbers simply represent, is the transmission in drive? Is it in neutral? Is it in reverse? It doesn't tell you anything about whether it's slowing down or not. But the brake switch and the brake pressure and the longitudinal accelerometer data gives you some information on that.
Okay, so if Your Honor, we could go to slide 30, please.
Okay.
Mr. Wolf. And I want to do it generally. There's not a need to read any specific number. I just want it clarified.
Mr. Alessi, so is this 30 or 31?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, you are correct. It's 31 in the most up-to-date presentation. Thank you. You see all the numbers in blue font on that slide, sir?
I do?
Those are all numbers that you have placed on that slide. Did I have that correct in your direct presentation?
You do?
Okay. So this Excel spreadsheet, there's also numbers in black, correct?
Correct.
So all the ones that are in blue, those are numbers that you have placed into the spreadsheet. Correct?
Correct. The one exception is column N, where it says ship position.
Yes.
I changed green to forward and red to reverse.
So the data in the columns in blue are not from the original data that was downloaded from the vehicle, correct?
Like, for example, if you look at column H, I simply did a unit conversion. So it's the same number, it's just in different units. But the black numbers represent exactly as it comes out of the vehicle, but it's the same number.
All right, that's what I wanted to get to. So for clarity for this slide, when you download this data from the vehicle, what is in black, those numbers just come right out, correct?
Correct.
As they're stated. But the blue numbers, they don't come out like the numbers in blue. You have to do something, some calculation, some application to get to the blue, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, we're going to keep that up, Mr. Woke, please. Thank you. And when we need to get to the specific numbers, we'll be fair and make sure you can see them. Now, in these columns, do I understand it correctly that you attempted to account for wheel slippage in the revolutions per minute speed values produced by the car?
Not here. You're looking, this is 1162-1. The wheel slippage occurred in 1162-2.
Okay, and so if we go to a slide with 1162.2, we will then go to the slide you believe represents wheel slippage. Is that correct?
There are data points in that represent slippage.
That's my question. In which slide, sir, would you like to pick?
35.
Thank you. So we will go to slide 35. So
I've highlighted the slippage.
exactly. So you agree that there is data that shows that there is wheel slippage with the Lexus SUV during trigger event. Let's enlarge it for this one here. The trigger event, the number 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
And as I understand it, you testified that this trigger event was caused by a depression of the accelerator pedal at more than 30%. Is that correct?
It's a transition into reverse and then a quick acceleration exceeding 30%
So let's
in reverse.
Okay, got it. So the accelerator pedal being depressed to this degree, more than 30%, can be the result of wheel slippage, correct?
It doesn't necessarily work that way. I mean, you can have wheel slippage at any acceleration, technically, depending on the roadway. It's just what is in the data that shows that it's slipping. It isn't necessarily because of the accelerator. Normally, that's what causes slippage. But it's the data. When you look at the data, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's increasing in speed, but yet the longitudinal acceleration is dropping.
My question, again, doctor, is you can have an accelerator pedal depress greater than 30% and it be caused by wheel slippage. That can occur, correct?
The wheel slippage does not cause the accelerator pedal.
I'm not saying a cause and effect. I'm just saying a correlation. Do you understand what I mean by a correlation?
Let me, if I may, try and straighten this out. So applying heavy acceleration can cause the wheels to spin. Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to get at. Alrighty. So in your review of the materials that are related to January 29, 2022, did you become aware of whether there were, and you said you extensively reviewed documents, did you become aware whether there were people at 34 Fairview?
Yes.
And approximately how many people, without regard to names, just number, how many people did you become aware were at 34 Fairview on January 29th, 2022, the early morning hours? How many people approximately did you become aware were present?
It depends on which time, but there could be as many as 16.
As many as 16. And let's talk about the time period from midnight to 1 a.m. Do you have an understanding of how many people could have been present at 34 Fairview at that time period?
So I'm going to see you at sidebar on this, Mr. Mayor.
Why? Why do we have to go to sidebar over this? I'm hoping he's going to ask his professional opinion of, do you think any of those 16 people would have seen a grown man lying in the yard with barely any snow on it? I wonder if this guy, it's painful. It's very painful. Oh my goodness. Right? Right? Oh, Peggy is gone. I hope she's okay. Maybe she went to the bathroom or something. I don't know. I just feel like this guy, I get wanting to like explain your work, and I think he's used to always being allowed to do that. And this is kind of new for him to have this much combativeness about things. But I am still confused about the gear. I think I get what they're saying here, or what the point Alessi is trying to make with distance and the gear shifting and the tires slipping. Now, again, I hadn't really factored in the tires slipping. They mentioned it happened in the 3-point turn, but haven't really said so as much until just recently, if I'm understanding this correctly. Because while there was a little bit of snow, like this much snow out there, it does make the road slippery. So what could she have possibly done where she's going up 34, 35 feet? I don't remember the exact numbers. And then hightails it in reverse. That seems very weird on the road that we've seen. So, and I know some of you in chat told me that Turtle Boy went and tested it. I've not watched it yet, but I think I might tonight, or well, probably not tonight. I'm super swamped today. I got a busy day. But I am curious to see how his experiment went with that. So Lady in Gray says, I'm confused how he can essentially say Karen hit John when he also says he doesn't know anything specific about the contact. I know. Like, at that point, what are we even arguing about? We're just arguing about your assumptions and your speculation here. I hope the jury is caught on it. He consistently says, I actually don't have enough information for like anything, which I think is very interesting.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Welcher, am I correct in my understanding that you believe under your theory, the Lexus for event 1162-2 backed up 53 feet? Am I correct?
No, it backed up a total of 87 feet.
Okay, let's take your 87. It backed up a total of 87, okay?
Correct.
And your further theory is that it did so and reached 24 miles per hour, correct?
Correct.
And you stated you have an understanding of a certain number of people, and I don't want to talk about the inside of the house, but just that were at 34 Fairview between roughly 12 and 1 a.m. Do you have an understanding of that, sir? Approximately.
I believe I do.
And what is that number?
Do you want them, people that were there for that entire window of time or
Yeah.
just?
Yes, 12 to 1.
Oh,
So Mr. Alessi, just move to the last question.
Right, sure. So, sir, did you assume that there were cars parked out front of 34 Fairview at that 12 to 1 o'clock window? Did you assume any cars parked out front?
the entire time?
No, I'm just talking 12 to, yeah, any time between 12 and 1. Did you make any assumptions whether there were cars parked out front on the roadway at 34 Fairview? Did you make any assumptions with regard to that?
At a point in time, there was a vehicle behind it.
I'm sorry,
There was a vehicle behind it.
just one?
That is my understanding. In terms of on the street, is
On
your
the street,
question?
exactly. And what, do you remember the type of vehicle?
Yes.
What kind of vehicle was it?
An F-150 pickup.
Did you have any understanding as to whether there was a Jeep vehicle on the road at that 12 to 1 time period?
I had seen testimony somewhere to that effect, but the majority of the testimony was there were no other vehicles.
But you did see testimony that there was also a Jeep type vehicle on the front, out the front of 34 Fairview between 12 and 1. Is that what you're recalling?
So I'm going to let that answer stand, what he's just testified to. Just go ahead and.
Okay, so Dr. Welcher, what I want to do is to have you, using your data, you say 87 feet for the backup, correct?
Correct.
1162, up to 24 miles per hour. Isn't there a likelihood, if there is at least one vehicle out in front of 34 Fairview, that there would be a collision of the Lexus SUV with the vehicle out front?
No, the vehicle had left prior to the end or prior to event 1162-2.
What information do you have with regard to how many vehicles are in front of 34 Fairview at between 12 and 1?
So I have Ms. Reed's interview statements. I have statements of a number of witnesses. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the names.
Let's not.
I was just going to say, let's not just number of vehicles.
Okay, so I have a number of witness statements at multiple statements from the same witnesses at different times, indicating the path and following the Lexus to the house and then leaving before the event.
Assume that there were vehicles, at least one vehicle parked out front of 34 Fairview.
The info
Is there
payments, the trigger due.
a likelihood that given 24 miles per hour over 87 feet, is there a likelihood that there would be a collision given the weather conditions as you knew them to be at that time?
Well, the weather, I don't think necessarily plays into whether there would be a collision or not, but we know it backed up 87 feet.
I think you
So
would.
again, it goes forward like 35-ish and then back like 60 something. And so if something is within 65 feet of the rear of it, or whatever the numbers are, I would need my slides,
It was 50.
50,
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
57. If something is within that window, then it would hit it.
All right, good. So now let's look at another scenario. If it's going as you describe it, is there a likelihood that the Lexus would also go upon the lawn in front of 34 Fairview?
It depends on where it starts.
You have an opinion, don't you, as to where it starts?
No, I do not. That's actually why I have that diagram showing it off to the side.
That's
I'm
right.
simply showing how far it moved forward, how far it moved back.
Exactly.
We don't know where on the roadway it started.
Exactly. You don't know where on the roadway it started. And therefore, all you have is the distance covered, correct?
Correct.
So, but you're saying the distance is 87 feet, correct?
87 feet backwards, yes.
So backwards, 24 miles an hour. Have you ever driven a vehicle backwards 24 miles an hour, sir?
Yes, I think I've driven this Lexus backwards 24 miles
Right.
an hour.
So if anybody who's driven a vehicle back, have you ever driven any vehicle back 24 miles an hour at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning?
Probably not since I got out of high school.
Have you ever done it when there's a storm that is beginning?
No.
Have you ever done it when there is less than clear visibility?
No and no.
And have you ever done it when there's low lighting?
Oh, maybe when I've been up skiing in the snow, I've done it. But again, that's been decades.
This snow
Right.
doesn't cause
So-
collisions, so worry about it. It doesn't matter.
87 feet, 24
Everyone's
miles an hour.
disagree.
Are you saying that in every instance that vehicle will stay on the road and for 34 Fairview, it wouldn't go up on the lawn?
When you mean every instance, mean like every possible location on the road it starts from?
Correct.
No, there's some spots. If you start here, it's going to go up on the road, on the yard. If you start too far on the other side, you're going to go over into the neighbor's yard. So it depends on where you start.
Right. And so in given the conditions that we've just described, right?
Conditions have nothing to do
I
with where
need
you
to
start.
finish my
Hold
question,
on.
sir.
Only one at a time.
Yes, ma'am.
Let him finish his question, please.
Given the conditions that you've described, it is reasonable to conclude that that vehicle, under your parameters, would have gone up on the lawn. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
No.
So you don't think there's any possibility that could occur, a vehicle going 24 miles an hour at this location, 87 feet backwards, in the dark, with wet pavement at a minimum, and low lighting, you don't believe it's possible for the vehicle to, under your scenario, to have gone up on the lawn? That's not
So
possible.
your first question was reasonable, and I said no. Now you're asking possible. It, of course, is possible. Whether it's reasonable or not, I'd have to know the starting position.
Right.
If it's very close to the side, then it could be reasonable. If it's further towards the middle of the road because snow is building up on the side of the road, then it's probably not as reasonable. I would need more information to be able to determine whether it's reasonable or not. It's certainly possible. It's possible it could have shot off into space as an engineer, but not probable.
Oh, you think it's possible that it could have been shot off into space, sir?
As an engineer, it's a possibility.
It's a possibility that
Absolutely.
this Lexus could have been shot off into space.
Yeah. Highly, highly unlikely. But
All right.
again, you're asking an engineer about possibilities and probabilities.
Let's get back to reality. So in terms of the Lexus itself,
Oh boy.
because you, under your method of analysis, don't have the starting point, you can't rule out that under your scenario, the vehicle would have gone up on the lawn. You can't rule that out, can you, sir?
I cannot. No, it could have.
Okay. Now let's go to the next topic. If we could, Your Honor, have Exhibit 168 published in evidence.
Anybody
which
have
is
that on their
now
bingo
Under
card?
the 167. Now, as I understand your testimony, Dr. Welcher, you believe that it's possible that the Lexus taillight could have caused these wounds to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm. Is that correct?
Correct.
And more specifically, it's your belief that the lacerations would have been caused by the vehicle scratching Mr. O'Keefe's arm as it drives past him. Is that correct?
I don't know. I'd characterize it that way. What happens is, there's 6,000-pound vehicles coming, and he's standing on a, icy, snowy roadway area, and it's going to contact him and move his whole body and induce rotation.
Right. So it's going to contact him in, under your theory, induced rotation. So wouldn't such a movement of the car relative to his right arm result in horizontal injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's arm, as can be seen on his bicep above the elbow?
So could we pull up one of my slides to address this issue?
Sir,
I'd like to answer your question with a slide that I have that addresses this exact point.
I'd like to stay with this slide, Dr. Welcher, and see if you can answer my questions off of this slide. So I'll repeat it.
Sure.
Do you agree that the injuries up at the upper part, where you're familiar with the bicep brachialis?
I am.
And aren't those two up at the top, right over the bicep brachialis?
They're actually about midway between the biceps and the triceps.
Right. So you know which two I'm talking about, the two up there. Can you just use your laser pointer just so we're talking about the same two? Do you have one?
I'll give it a try, but the upper ones.
I know it's not your fault, but
On the
sometimes it
image,
doesn't
the
show.
upper left. I mean,
Yes.
technically, the ones right to the right of that are also on the biceps and triceps.
Right, but
The
I'm talking.
biceps goes all the way to the elbow, so do the triceps.
Right, so I'm talking about the two that are the farthest up.
Correct.
All right, would you agree that those are in a horizontal orientation?
Generally, yes, which is what you'd expect with your arm like this and the tail light coming across like this, which is what I showed in my slides.
My questions are trying to keep this moving. I just asked if those are in a horizontal orientation.
Yeah,
Yes
more
or
or
no?
less. They're angled down slightly, but more or less horizontal.
Okay. Isn't it true that if Mr. O'Keefe's arm were to be flexed like it was with the test subject in your blue paint test, the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's forearm would be oriented in a vertical direction?
Absolutely not. If you pull up my slide 117, it'll show exactly that it is like perfectly horizontal. When you're standing like this, and this is the tail light, the laceration, when it comes across here and pushes my body, it's going to make a horizontal laceration because the 6,000 pound vehicle is going to push me out of the way. As this pushes me out of the way, it's going to drag and create a horizontal laceration across my arm. This is exactly what you'd expect.
So let's talk about the forearm, sir. We may have miscommunicated. I'm talking about the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's forearm now.
So we're switching from the arm to the forearm.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't those be oriented in a vertical direction?
No. Again, you have the vehicle. If this is me and this is the car, it's pushing and pushing across like this. And with your arm bent like this, it's going to cause laceration as it pushes my arm away. It pushes like that.
Okay, I
And
got it.
my slide shows this quite clearly.
So you disagree, you do not agree that the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's forearm under your theory would be oriented in a vertical. You disagree with that. It's just want to get that on the record.
I disagree with that.
Okay. Now, also, do you understand that under your theory of injury here, that there would be injuries caused in two different directions by the same movement of the car? Agree or disagree?
I'm going to say I disagree. You need to give me a little more. You're going to have, again, this is a glancing or a clipping type impact. And so it's going to be it's going to sweep across the arm, which is what causes the horizontal lacerations.
We're talking about a flat surface, right, sir?
Approximately, yes.
And therefore, you would have to maintain contact with the arm as the car moves. Am I correct about that?
maintain contact with the arm? I'm unclear what you mean.
What I'm trying to do, sir, is to get under your theory,
Mhm.
right? Given the contact that you've described, what would you expect to be the orientation of the wounds to the upper part of the arm and to the lower part of the arm?
Just like it's shown in this photograph.
Okay. Isn't it the case with your theory that the tail light would have to break? And after the break, the arm would have to maintain contact with the arm as the car moves.
So that is what happens in pedestrian contacts. There is a contact duration. For example, you asked me earlier in that calculation you had me ran, you said 0.01 seconds. That was the contact duration. So when you have things like this, that's why you have to allow, if you do testing, the body to move, because the car is going to hit the body. It's going to cause it to move. The body's going to rotate away, and the car is going to continue on in that clipping type impact. So the arm is definitely in contact with the rear of the car for some time.
That's what I wanted to get to, is simply that under your theory, the taillight would break, and also the arm would need to maintain contact with the taillight area as the car moves. Is that your supposition?
So at a point in time, it'll stop contact, but the 6,000-pound vehicle is going to want to continue moving on. It's going to push. It's going to initially contact the arm and then push the arm away as it rotates the body. So yes, it's going to maintain contact until the clipping is over and the vehicle continues on.
So my next question is simply, how long do you believe the arm needs to maintain contact with the taillight after, under your theory, it breaks to produce those types of wounds that you say came from a taillight?
We don't have enough information to determine that.
Oh.
Right. You don't have enough information to make that determination, do you, sir?
Correct.
And
But we know because of the laws of physics that it has to be some amount of time. It doesn't occur instantaneously.
so now we do apply the laws of physics to the right arm that weren't applied before because you applied a paint experiment. Is that correct? You're now applying the laws of physics to the injury to the right arm. But you
No.
didn't do that in your report.
Nope, always applied the laws of physics. The paint experiment, as you're referring to it, was to look at
Oh,
basically
That
the orientation of the scratches that matched this. So that was an engineering experiment to correlate height, position of the taillight relative to height, orientation of the lacerations on Mr. O'Keefe's arm.
You just said, sir, if I heard you correctly, you, to answer my previous question, applied the laws of physics. That's what you just said, correct?
So the laws of physics cover more than Newton's second law.
thank you, Carol.
There's a whole law of physics. The whole field of physics is a broad subject. So a simple measurement of height is a physical measurement.
Sir, I have your entire report in my hand, right here. Where in the report do you apply the law of physics to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe? Where?
So in the paint experiment we did, the laws of physics about gravity, orientation, things like that, I didn't apply Newton's second law as we already went through. But again, those simple positions, arm angles, the possible physical arm angles, those are all generally governed by the laws of physics. The laws of physics are very broad.
Sir, I'll ask it this way. Where in your 14-page report, do you even mention the laws of physics related to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe?
Look who we got, guys. Joining us again.
So in
Very true
terms
friend.
of applying the laws of physics.
I'm not asking applying, just where in the report is it mentioned law of physics relative to the right arm? Can you point me
I
to
don't
where?
would write a report that said, these are the laws of physics. I would say, these are the numbers. But for example, the timing in GPS, how a clock times, the concept of a second. What does that mean? Those are all concepts of physics. So the timing, the GPS, the mileage, how we calculate the mileage, those are all based on the laws of physics.
I'm talking about injuries to the right arm.
It's not what you asked. You asked me about my whole report.
Sir, if you could, please, I just need to finish my question. Where in your report do you use any laws of physics in connection with injuries to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe? Can you point me to a word or a page in your report?
Yes.
Where?
2A, 2A Roman numeral 1, 2A Roman numeral 2, 2A Roman numeral 3, 2A Roman numeral number 4, 2A Roman numeral number 5.
Sir, I followed all of it, but what I'm asking about is where in all of what you just mentioned is the word right arm? I'll take what you just said. Where in 2A and all of those is the word right arm? Where is it?
Oh, sorry, it's in number 3.
So let's go to 3. You state the location and orientation of the laceration on John O'Keefe's right forearm and right arm are consistent with the geometry and orientation of the right tail light of the Reed 2021 Lexus LX 570.
Can you read the next sentence?
I'm sorry, is it see PowerPoint slides 102, 120, correct?
Correct.
All right. I want to just start with the report. Did you apply any force analysis to support 3?
So in terms of the force analysis, I did not do an F equal MA analysis, but in terms of, say, the contact pattern, I obviously had to apply some force, even at 2 miles an hour, to do that.
So the answer is, what you cited, number 3, you did not use a force analysis, correct?
So force was applied to my arm in the paint test. I didn't do an F equals MA force analysis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now let's
Okay.
go to the horizontal movement we were talking about with regard to the car.
A
And
little
you can
bit.
agree or disagree.
Sorry. Picture's done.
I'm sorry, we'll take that down.
I mean, they already look like complete fools.
Do
I don't
you
know how to
agree
make it
or
worse.
disagree that given a horizontal movement of the car, vertical lacerations would be an inconsistent injury pattern?
So
Yeah.
horizontal motion generally will cause a horizontal laceration. You can get what are called stellate, which are a blunt force, and it causes a splitting of the skin as well. But generally, when the vehicle is clipping or running horizontal across it, it will generally cause horizontal lacerations. But when you have a fractured taillight, you can get pieces going off in other directions. So it's not necessarily going to be perfectly horizontal.
So my question is, not with clipping, you keep inserting clipping into my question. My question is this. If you're given a horizontal movement of the car, do you agree that it's more likely than not that vertical lacerations would be an inconsistent injury pattern?
I'm trying to help you, but you got to give me more. So like, is
Can I
it a
help
clipping
you?
contact or is it not a clipping contact? Is it a direct in the center of the car impact?
Okay, are there only 2 variables you need to
No,
answer the question?
But this is a good start.
All right, so let me do it this way. You can't answer the question on a general basis of whether there's horizontal movement of a car, whether vertical lacerations would be an inconsistent injury pattern. You can't answer that question without more information. Is that your answer?
So generally, again, horizontal motion should cause horizontal lacerations. But again, it depends on what's being hit.
Okay.
So for example, if I have something that bends as a result of the impact, it could bend up and create a vertical laceration.
So you would agree, based upon what you said, that generally horizontal movement of a car would be expected to cause horizontal lacerations.
Generally.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, during your blue paint test, the blue paint was featured more predominantly on your upper arm than your forearm. Is that correct?
I think it depends on the test.
We bring up a slide? Will that
I'd
help
love to
you?
bring up a slide.
We're going to be running the thing, so we'll just bring one up and you tell me whether this slide works for you, sir.
Do you want me to tell you the slide I want?
If we could take a shot at it first, and then we may ask you for it, but I think we've got a slide for you. And what number?
Dr. Welch,
111 is on the screen, sir.
He's something. He is something.
Is the blue paint more predominantly on your upper arm than your forearm? Is there more blue paint on your upper arm than your forearm?
Let's go.
Probably.
This slide.
Oh, never mind. Okay, we're fine.
If you could just focus on this slide here, and if you can't answer it, so be it.
I just answered it.
Is the blue paint featured more predominantly on your upper arm than your forearm?
It sort of looks like it. I didn't actually measure the total area of it.
All right. So on direct, you stated that in order for the injuries on Mr. O'Keefe's forearm to have been caused by an impact with the taillight, his arm would have needed to be held outstretched as you did in your demonstration, correct?
You would need some degree of outstretch, yes.
Yes. So isn't that an example of confirmation bias?
No, that's matching the contact pattern to the injuries.
But don't you have to select among other choices this outstretching of the arm? You had to make that selection from among others, correct?
So that was matching the physical evidence on his arm to the physical evidence on the car, and then running a test to see if dynamically those matched up. So it's, I didn't have it hit the exhaust pipe, for example, because there was no assertion to hit the exhaust pipe. There was no damage to the exhaust pipe. So it was based upon the evidence, and the testing was done to test, to use your vernacular, the hypothesis that that's where it came from.
Sir, have I ever asked you anything about a tailpipe in any of my questions today?
Yes.
I have not. I've never
Yes,
asked.
you have. You asked me about the totality of the rear of the Lexus, which includes the tailpipe.
All right. I am not going to be asking any questions that involve the taillight in any fashion. So what I'd like to do is to go back to the question that I'm asking, which is, did you consider, as part of the scientific method, in terms of more than one hypothesis, did you consider in your analysis any other orientation of Mr. O'Keefe other than the one you selected for your paint test?
Yes.
And where is that consideration of other hypotheses stated in any report?
It's not. I was just looking at the damage that was up on the sheet metal.
Okay. So are you saying that you considered other orientations of Mr. O'Keefe relative to the vehicle as part of your analysis?
In terms of where exactly the hand would be, some slight different angles in the forearm, which is from the elbow to the hand. I did consider that, but all the physical testing is done with the hand hitting the approximate center of the taillight.
Do you have any notes that you took for these alternate alternative orientations?
No, I think I just included photographs of that damage.
Do you have any proof at all that you consider those other orientations? Anything in writing?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you consider any other locations of Mr. O'Keefe under your theory relative to the back of the SUV?
Sure. In the beginning of this, I started about, hey, it's all over. Could be anywhere on the back of it. Then whittled it down based upon the evidence, started eliminating various hypotheses based upon the evidence, and came to this conclusion, eliminating hypotheses based upon the taillight fragments near his body, the lacerations, his height, the height of the taillight in a Lexus. So it was an iterative process.
Did you mention any of these supposed hypotheses in your direct testimony?
No, because I was able to reject them. I didn't come in here to tell these people what didn't happen. I came in here to tell them what I believe happened.
Could have
Did you
happened.
research that the scientific method earlier has the scientists identify various hypotheses, go with the data that supports it, but you show your math as to why you're rejecting hypotheses. As you said, you rejected them. I'm asking for proof that you considered other hypotheses. Do you have anything in writing, any notes at all, any videos, any tests that you did, documentation of other hypotheses other than picking this one? Do you have any documentation of that?
So I did a bunch of tests with the Lexus. I did backing tests. I looked at how the rear system worked to see if it would autonomously brake. I confirmed it did not. So I eliminated that as a hypothesis. I tested the steering. I tested the transmission, what 1, 2 represented. So I did a whole bunch of tests on the vehicle.
I understand you say you did a bunch of tests on the vehicle. My question is, did you ever take the vehicle and position yourself or anybody else in various locations to determine whether or not your hypotheses could be properly rejected? Do you have any documentation that you did that?
I mean, I did do one static and 2 dynamic tests in very similar positions, though. So I did a total of 3 tests relative to the arm.
Where is the documentation for that, sir?
It's in the file. I gave it to you. Some of the slides are some of it.
All right, so Mr. Alessi, I think if we're going to,
I am, and I'm going to move on, Your Honor.
So
okay, but Mr. Alessi, hold on, we're going to do that for you.
Can I ask, I just have one other area, Your Honor. I can do it in short order if I
Okay.
could, please.
I wasn't finished my.
Go ahead, finish your answer. I'm
So
sorry.
slides 109, 110, 111,
Jeez.
actually through, I guess, 121 deal with the testing of the hypothesis.
We'll come back to
Thanks
this
for
at
clearing that
another time,
It's helpful.
Dr. Welcher. So what I want to do is to finish up on this point. So is it your testimony that no part of what you did in selecting this area, no part of it is confirmation bias? You say there's no confirmation bias at all in what you did. Is that your testimony?
That's certainly my goal. I try and eliminate all confirmational bias. I didn't start out at this particular location. This is where the physical evidence led me to. So I would say the conclusions are supported by the science.
My question is, did you engage in any confirmation, and this will be my last question, did
The
you
answer is no.
engage in any confirmation bias in terms of how you approach the issue that you have testified about in written reports?
The answer is still no.
It's a good
All right,
written.
so, okay, thank you. All right, so jurors, we're going to send you home because we still have work to do here and we don't need you waiting there while we do it inside. So tomorrow is a half day. We'll see when exactly that half day ends, but we won't be here until, we won't go until 4 tomorrow. Those 3 cautions: do not discuss this case with anyone, don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it and let us know. 4th admonition: please be very careful with your social media use. See you tomorrow morning.
Rise to the jury.
Okay, I thought that was funny.
Stay here, yes.
Jeez. Oh, it looks like we're going into voir dire, you guys. Yes. This guy. Oh my gosh, what a pain in the ass. Oh my gosh. I just, at the end there, he's like all confident, like this you mean could have happened. You've said numerous times today that you know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know, Cindy. I don't know. It might just be half day for jurors, but a full day for us. I don't know. It's a good question.
Okay, Mr. Alessi, it's your voir dire.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor, to switch?
Your Honor,
Yes.
can I have a look at my slides?
Can I look at my slides, please?
Yeah, can you do that while you're sitting here answering questions?
I haven't been
Yes.
able to do that. It's not making me look great. Bye, Dave. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be a good day tomorrow. Exactly. He has 400,000 reasons. 400,000 reasons to come to the conclusion he has. Just saying. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. It's the side swiping that he keeps mentioning that keeps bothering me. Because how does a side swipe
Okay.
bust out
We're
her
on a very
taillights?
limited schedule here. Okay.
Oh, are we
Sure, Your
limited?
Honor.
What do you guys do today, Beth?
Mr. Wilk, with Your Honor's permission, if we could pull up the January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint of Dr. Welcher in slide 36. You see that, Dr. Welcher? Do you recall that from your January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint?
I thought I had replaced the video on the left-hand side by the time I produced it.
Sir, I got to
don't
go through
recall
this
that.
quickly. That image is a drone image on the left, correct?
Oh, correct.
And you had that in your original report, but you removed it in subsequent reports, correct?
Correct.
Where did you get that drone image from?
It was in the file.
Wasn't it in the CARS report of Trooper Paul?
I believe it was.
So you took that drone image from the CARS report of Trooper Paul, correct?
Correct.
Let's,
Oh, sorry, guys. I clicked the wrong
if we
one.
could, Mr. Woke, go to diagram 1. Do we have that electronically of Trooper Paul's report?
Oh. My son just got home and scared the crap out of me.
Do you recognize that as diagram 1 from Trooper Paul's report?
Yes.
So, and that's the diagram that you took that image and you put it in your January 30th, 2025 PowerPoint, correct?
Pulling up my version of PowerPoint.
Oh, Trooper Paul's.
Yes, it's correct.
Okay, if we could take that down, I'm going to go to the next example. We could go to Dr. Welcher.
I'm sorry, actually, can we go back to that?
Yes.
Hmm.
With Your Honor, why do we,
Well,
I have limited, go ahead.
so that particular diagram I did not use. If you notice, the diagram I used has different cars and doesn't have all the writing about the position of things on it.
I am going to now, Your Honor, have to take the time to go to Trooper Paul's report. We have the hard copy of Trooper Paul's.
Could you turn the lights on, please?
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going
Show
to.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes, Mr. Brennan, this is. May I approach you, witness? Excuse me, Dr. Welcher. You see this first page, do you recognize this as the cover page for the Trooper Paul report that I was referring to?
Will these something show the signature?
You want to look at the report, sir? I'm not so sure there is a signature on the report.
Signature block right here.
Yeah.
Trooper Paul, page 16.
I have that.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, what I want to do is to go to diagram 1, and if I could, Your Honor, republish what was just up. I'm showing you diagram 1, sir, and I'm asking you, is that the image from Trooper Paul's report that you then used to put into your January 30th slide presentation?
No. See all the writing on here, the glass cup, all the dimensions here. Here's my January 30th one. None of that stuff's here. There's different, none of this stuff is here.
Isn't it the case that this is cropped more and there's a larger picture of the same image or not?
See this tree?
Yes.
See these trees?
Yes.
See all these measurements by the trees? All
Yes.
these? That's right here.
Okay.
Those do not show up on my image.
Let me go to a different method then to do this. You have an image. Can we go, Mr. Wolf, to the January 30th presentation?
Slide 36.
Correct. Where did you get that image from that's in your PowerPoint presentation on the left?
I think it was from the file, a satellite image from the file.
What part of the file, sir?
I actually don't know at this time.
How close is the image on diagram 1, the drone image, to the image that you can't now recall where you got it from for your slide presentation? Are they similar?
So that one has a whole bunch of measurements and ID on it, but the underlying image is very similar. It's probably the same one.
Yes. You're welcome. Do you know of any other place you could have, let's put the presentation back up on the slide presentation. Do you know of any other location other than Trooper Paul's report that you could have got that drone image from?
No, I'm not sure I got it from the report. I recall getting it from the file.
My question is, do you know of any other source other than Trooper Paul's report that you could have gotten that drone image from?
So this
Oh, for fuck's
image
sake.
is not in that report.
It's not my
Yes, it is. You asked me anything but the report. That image is not in that report.
Did you get the drone image from any file from the Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Okay.
Not that hard, buddy.
Did Trooper Paul
I hope so.
work on any drone images to your knowledge with respect to 34 Fairview?
I don't know.
But you would agree that the drone images are from the Massachusetts State Police file, correct?
Give me 1 second.
Sir, let me know you've had a fair opportunity to answer that question.
Yeah, give me a second. Yes, it came in a file called cars-trp.jpal.
Okay, so it came from, and that's the report of Trooper Paul, correct?
No, these are drone images that are not in the report.
No, I'm saying what you just read. Can you repeat it again, what you just read, where it came from?
I read you a folder
Yes,
that contains a bunch of things, including the report.
understood.
That image is not in his report.
Can you read the file name again that you just read?
The folder name
Yes,
is cars-trp.jpal.
okay. And did you get the drone image from that file folder?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's go on to the May 26, 2025 PowerPoint that you created. And I'd like to go to slides 25, 26, and 27.
Forgot I was still muted.
Have you discussed with anybody today at all the source of what is depicted up on this slide?
No.
Okay, so let's now go to where did you get you see the larger chart to the left there in the, looks like mostly a rectangle. Do you see that, sir?
What slide are you on? What slide is that?
25, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, and then if we could click to 26, because it looks like it's the same. If we can go to 26 and 27, looks like it's the same one. You tell me.
Similar.
Similar, okay.
Yeah,
In 27,
correct.
see the same or similar one there. Okay.
These are all from Google Maps.
Well, my question is, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Let me ask you this so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Do you have access, sir, to the cars report of Trooper Paul on your computer?
Think so? You remember the name of it?
I don't. We'll do it there with a hard copy. So if I could approach, Your Honor?
Yep.
So you see what I'm pointing to right here, which is page 10 of Trooper Paul's cars report. Do you see that?
Is this the same report dated 1/29/2022?
I believe so, sir. Let me just take a peek.
I'll allow it, KJ. I'll allow it
The one I have in my hand.
because it is.
Didn't look for any identification of issues, right? We got the same one.
Yeah, mine's broken.
Okay,
So let's do paper.
okay. So we have that report.
Mhm.
And I now am referencing page 10 of that report, and I'm looking at the chart on page 10. Is that chart on page 10 the same or substantially the same as the chart that is up on your slide presentation right now?
So it's not the same. I did not use this data at all, but we both use Google Maps.
Okay. All right. Now let's go to
Got voir dire.
your, continuing on the same slide. If Mr. Wolf, we could go to slides 22 and 23.
Okay, and this will be the last on this, Mr. Lessie. If you want to get to the autopsy photo, we're wrapping this all up at 4:10.
Okay,
Oh
Your
my
Honor.
God. But we'll be late every morning.
You
Drives me
see these
crazy.
photos?
I'm sorry.
You see the photos that are up on that?
I do.
Okay. Do you, in terms of those photos, do you recognize any aspect of those photos?
Yes.
What do you recognize in terms of the person in it?
Oh. You want me to limit it to just these 3 photos?
any photo that would be, this photo or any photo similar to it. But let's start with just these three.
If I have to limit it to these three, I don't know who that is.
Okay, and if you don't limit it to those three, who would you conclude it is in those photos?
It appeared to be Trooper Paul from other photos.
Okay, so you can tell from other photos that this is Trooper Paul in these photos, correct?
I have photos of Trooper Paul in the car. I don't know that someone else switched out. I have no reason to believe this isn't anybody but Trooper Paul.
Okay. Would you have any understanding that there's any other trooper that would be doing this type of analysis other than Trooper Paul?
Someone else took the photographs?
No, I'm talking inside the vehicle.
I'm sorry?
Inside the vehicle doing what's depicted here.
Someone is inside the vehicle taking the photograph.
What's your best conclusion as to who that is?
Trooper Paul.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Your Honor, that is,
Okay, so next topic.
yes,
Go right
thank you.
ahead.
And I just need to reload, if you will, with regard to that topic.
I think it's a little ridiculous that she's on such a time constraint when she starts court late every single freaking day. Our word of the day.
Slide, and I think I can do this fairly quickly.
Okay,
If you can go, Mr. Woke, to slide 131 of Dr. Welcher's PowerPoint presentation. And it's now 132. I don't believe that's the right one. It's the,
One before that.
yep, I think you're, yeah, okay. So this is slide 131 from your slide presentation, correct, sir?
Correct.
She's interesting.
And if you look to the far right, I'm sorry, Mr. Wolf, you go to the other one. Yes, that one, and scroll down so we can see what's in green. For that depiction, that is from Dr. Scorty Bellows' autopsy report, page 3, correct? Is that where you got that from?
It's from the report. Take your word for it on page 3.
So, but it is from Dr. Scorty Bellows' autopsy report, correct?
Correct.
Now, if you could go to, if we could zoom back out and go to the multicolored image in the center, up at the top. Yep, I got it. Yep, thank you. If you can go to the very top line, it says autopsy report performed by Irene Scorty Bello, MD, PhD. If you could scroll back over, date of autopsy, January 31, 2022, and then you see final diagnoses. That is all directly from the autopsy report, is it not, sir?
Yes.
And that is in your slide presentation, correct, sir? This is page 131 of your slide presentation, correct?
Yeah, correct.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
okay. You are all set, Doctor?
Thank you, Ron.
All right. Did you have any questions, Mr. Brennan?
If it'd be helpful for the court, I have a couple quickly.
Okay.
Oh, yes, let's get Brent. It's 4:10. Bev. But yes, let's give Brennan his chance. I don't even know why we're having this board here.
Dr. Welcher, you were shown a photograph of the street of Fairview Road. Did you know that didn't come from Trooper Paul? It came from the CERT report, and Trooper Paul then took it from the CERT report and put it in separately in his presentation. Did you know that?
I had no idea. I just was given it as a folder.
And the photo you were using, it didn't have the markings that Trooper Paul put on his report, did it?
It did not.
When Trooper Paul, when you used that photo, was it because you were borrowing, relying on, or using any of Trooper Paul's reports for your conclusions or any of your decisions or analysis in this case?
I did not use his report.
It
Oh.
was simply limited to the use of the photo to show a different demonstrative issue.
Correct.
And then when you saw diagram 1, again, that was different than what was used in Trooper Paul's report because it had absent in it all the writing. Isn't that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Did you
Oh.
rely on Trooper Paul's analysis or conclusions in this case for your conclusions and your analysis?
Not at all.
Is that why you went and downloaded the information and looked at the car and did everything individually, separately, and uniquely from Trooper Paul?
I wanted to be independent in my analysis.
Look at this guy's
Regarding
simple
Dr.
answers.
Scortabello, did you ever consider her conclusions regarding manner or cause of death as a basis for your analysis and conclusions?
Yeah.
And when you considered her analysis, did you consider the conclusion? Did you consider the conclusion of undetermined cause of death, was that part of your analysis?
Oh, no, I was using like the skull fractures, the description of the injuries.
So you were considering the information in her autopsy report?
Correct.
How about her conclusions? Did you rely on her conclusions to do your studies or any analysis in this case, as far as cause of death or manner of death?
Only I thought I said blunt force trauma and hypothermia.
Okay. Regarding her conclusions about whether this was caused by a car accident or not, did you consider that as the basis of your opinion?
No, I wouldn't take a person like that's opinion for that.
Did you ever have a conversation with Dr. Scotabello about her expertise limitations?
No, I would want a biomechanical analysis.
Was your opinion regarding the collision in this case, did it have anything to do whatsoever with Dr. Scotabello's conclusions regarding cause of death, whether it was accident, undetermined, or homicide?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Your Honor.
All right, one question. Can we just wrap it up? I'd like to hear you argue, but we don't have time, so I'm just gonna
I have
decision.
two questions, Your Honor. You put in your slide presentation information from the autopsy report of Dr. Scotabello for a reason, correct, sir? And that reason is because you considered the autopsy report as part of your analysis, correct?
So I considered portions, which are the portions I included here for the autopsy report.
Are y'all seeing this?
And part of those considerations were the final diagnoses. We can put that back up, Mr. Woke. But you recall the slide that you had has the final diagnoses of Dr. Scotabello, and you put that in your slide presentation because you considered that as part of your analysis, else it wouldn't be in there, correct?
So the final diagnosis is in there. There's a line, then it says cause of death, and then manner of death.
Right.
The things I highlighted are the things I thought were important. So the highlighting on slide 130. So the final diagnosis, again, does not include cause of death. It does not include manner of death. There's that horizontal line demarcating those. The important things that I was looking at are the under or highlighted, which is why I highlighted them.
Exactly. So the ones that you highlighted, you considered are from the autopsy report. That's why you're highlighting them, right, sir? You
Correct.
Considered that.
Correct.
Thank you. No
You're welcome.
questions, Your Honor. I
All right.
appreciate that opportunity.
So I'm not going to let you argue now. I'll hear you very briefly tomorrow before we stop. But Mr. Lessie, how much longer are you going to be tomorrow?
If I could have a motion, Your Honor.
Yes.
Rush, Bev.
You're fine, Bev. You're fine. Unless you keep him all day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can I see how quick he answered all of Brennan's questions? There's no way he even kept up with what the questions were.
Tomorrow, if we can get through things quicker, I would like to do that, but given today, that's my best estimation.
So we're half a day tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
All day then.
So it may be that we have a 20-minute break tomorrow and we finish up by 1:30 by going straight through. We've got a juror who has an appointment that we told her she'd be able to make. So
Okay.
I'd like to do everything we can so that Dr. Welcher doesn't have to come back or stay here another day.
Oh,
So
why not?
Let's just see what we can do, and we will do the same thing for your experts as well.
No, I understand, Your Honor.
Okay.
I respect everything that Your Honor is saying. I must say, Your Honor, to state the obvious, this is a key aspect of the case, and we've got to be able to proceed through to the question. He covered a lot on his direct and deed property.
And I'm not asking you to curb it. I'm just hoping that we can do it. So I will ask you tomorrow at a certain time to see whether we're able to do it with the 20-minute break and finish.
Fair enough, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'll give you my answer at that particular point.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, for the court, please.
Thank you,
I
Dr.
mean, it'd go a
Welch.
lot easier if she made the witness, answered yes or freaking no.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That is wild. I'm so over her with this time. I'm over it. Oh, God. Right? If
I
we
mean-
could just answer the freaking questions.
Exactly. I do like that they're gonna do a half day for a juror. That
Mm.
I liked. But then why couldn't you stay a little bit longer today? And why can't you make the witness answer the question, yes or
Mhm.
no?
Like every single time. And Brennan is like rapid firing questions. There's no way that guy had time to process every one of those questions and give an answer,
Right.
a short answer. Like, oh, and this guy wants to say, oh, I'll have a dog in this fight. Bro, you got 400,000 dogs in this fight, if you know what I mean. Like, get out of here with that nonsense. Okay, Dave, we'll see you tomorrow. Right? Maybe show up at 9 a.m. If the juror had to be let go tomorrow, why did we start court at 10 today?
Right.
Makes me so annoyed. So annoyed.
I do agree with Captain.
Oh, Nikki says the traffic's probably horrible around there, and that's probably true too. But like, also, it's not my problem. Like, he's just adding commentary. That's our job, right?
Exactly.
Right, bro? Oh my goodness, he is something. And you know he's gonna look over all of his shit tonight. All of it. And he's gonna come watch tomorrow. We'll show up at court and he'll be like, I have something to say, Mr. Alessi, before you get started. Can I call you Alessi or can I call you Rob? Are we friends now? I don't know. And then he's just going to go on 20 minutes about how he misspoke the day before or some nonsense like that.
Aperture needs to reconsider their experts.
I mean, he's not, even if he's, what he's saying accurate, he's kind of
The arrogance
annoying.
is just, I don't like him.
No. And again, I know friendship bracelet for him.
Exactly.
Take it our way. I don't like it. But I do like how Alessi was just like, yeah, this is the big star witness here. I deserve all the time to ask. And she's like rushing him, like, well, are you going to be done by 1:30? Who cares? You, according to you, Bev, what you said the other day was that everyone's ahead of schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They're a week ahead of schedule. So why are you being like this for?
Because she doesn't want them to have to pay the witness another night in a hotel room and another day. So she's
They
trying
already
to be
paid
considerate.
$400,000.
Exactly.
Too late. Who cares? $400,000 is what Aperture was paid for this trial. That's insane. It's crazy. And I'm sorry, but the results that they've gotten have proved literally nothing. Nothing. They can't say where John was standing, where the car was parked, how he got hit. Was it a sideswipe? Why was it? Did he clip it? Was he facing the back? They don't know.
Yeah.
They've said that a billion times. Unbelievable. Ugh. Hey, Razorb. I like your name. Razorb.
I do too.
Yes, I imagine traffic is horrible there between those times. I live in a big city too, and it's
I
always
should say Austin too, but it's life. You deal with it.
die 80s.
High 80s.
Right? Right? Oh, right. We all need to be experts. Let's all apply for jobs at Aperture. I'm sure they'll have some openings. We're probably overqualified.
They
At
need
least
some
for
HR
Burgess's
help.
job.
Sure.
Oh, so they're trying to get in Trooper Paul's testimony, I guess, which is what was going on there because he did not testify in this trial yet. So I don't know if maybe they're wanting to introduce it. Does defense plan on calling Trooper Paul?
He's on their list, I
Mm.
think. Let me go look since I just made it.
Love the chat today as well. Our chat is always on fire. Great sense of humor. They're so kind. If you guys are nervous about saying hi, go ahead, say hi. They're nice. They won't bite. I promise. I promise. But yes, they've been fantastic. Traffic is bad for all of the time. You're going to apply to be a painter? Okay. A body painter. I don't know. I'm just so frustrated with this case. I'm so frustrated. just, I feel like there's just so much nonsense every day. Every single person makes my brain hurt. Like, for real.
I mean, if the prosecution is really about to wrap up, they are insane if they think a jury can make a verdict in their favor.
No way 12 people agree.
No way. On all of
No way.
they have made it
On either
impossible
end.
with all this bananery.
Bananery.
It's bananery.
It is bananery. It is bananery. I mean, again, their key witness here, the accident reconstructionist, said numerous times, we don't have all the data. I can't tell you what happened at all. If his foot was even lifted a half an inch off the ground, we would have completely different results. If his arm is facing one way, we'd have completely different results. What he brought to us is his assumptions and speculation. Okay. And I feel like at this point, we should have something that says there is a collision. Something, anything.
I agree.
We have the smartest car, and it's not going to tell us when it hits something. That just seems, I just can't get over it.
I can tell you this.
Over it.
My car screams at me if I get close to anything.
Bar Pierce. That's what Buffy was saying. I don't have a super new fancy smart car. I've never driven one either. I think it's too futuristic for me. I got old ass cars, is all I'm saying. Now, Ray Zorb, I don't know who the true culprit is. Like, I don't know.
Think there's going to be justice.
I don't know if she's guilty or if she's innocent. What I know is that everything is crap. And this guy is basing his conclusion off of all of this BS evidence that was collected in the worst kind of ways. So if he's basing, like, if you don't agree with the taillight evidence collection, which I do not, there's no pictures of when Buchanan and Proctor found them. There's no pictures, there's no diagram where any of these pieces are. So you throw that out, we don't even know if the taillight was broken. You know? It's interesting that only certain parts that Proctor found were the ones that fit together. It's crazy.
I mean, I do think the witness today did a great job of adding reasonable doubt. I mean, I don't think that's what they wanted him for, but
yeah, I don't think there will be justice for John. And I very much want there to be justice for John. I very much do. He seemed like a good guy who's raising his niece and nephew in hard times. Like, I want justice too. But that's the thing, right? Is like, we want people to be found guilty on actual, real evidence. Because you can't just be like, yeah, I think she's guilty, let's put her away. We don't work that way here for good reason. And I feel like that's what's trying to happen in here. And it's just not okay for me. I don't like it. They don't even know where he was found. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And he didn't even go in the yard.
No, he didn't even go in the yard.
I'm like, the people know they bought a house that was a crime scene. I'm sure they would be okay if you came up in their yard.
That's true. Someone said he was found there. Well, I mean, that was kind of where he was when the medics came and everything. But that doesn't even mean that doesn't even mean that's where he's hit. And here's why. Okay. We don't know, based on what the neurosurgeon said, right? He hits, hypothetically, let's say he does get hit by the car. We're in this mode, right? He hits the back of his head on the thing. We don't know if he went unconscious or was conscious. We don't know. And the neurosurgeon said as much. You know, we don't know if he would have really been able. Now, he did say he didn't think he would be able to do like normal motor functions, most likely. But like, we don't know if where his body landed would have been from the car, or did he manage to like maybe crawl and then go back in a very short period of time? It did seem like, but he didn't instantly die. That's been pretty determined, I think. Yeah. Though he could have been unconscious, that's not been ruled out. But yeah, I think John deserved a lot better.
And so
better
does
than
his
this.
parents, the niece and nephew who are raising. And I don't think Karen should be possibly have her whole life taken away. Her life's already been ruined.
Oh yeah, it will be.
And
She'll be infamous still, even if she's
they
found
did
not
not
guilty.
have the evidence to try to do this, in my opinion.
And that's true, Razor. They have not said that he had to have been hit by a vehicle. The ME was undecided. The neurosurgeon said, hey, he could have just been drunk and slipped and fallen and done that to his head. It's been done
Mhm.
before. And that's true. People don't realize that hitting your head, it can be the slightest little thing that can make your brain bleed and you die. Like, I know people, they were older people, sure, but still, not even being hit by a car. They fall, hit their head one way, and lights out. Lights out. People's mom, is there a Google pic of the white SUV that Lucky the plow driver saw at 330? No one is addressing it. Whose car in it, and why didn't that person see John's body? Well, Lucky hasn't testified yet if he's going to. The plow driver that apparently saw, I want to say an Edge, Ford Edge there. Probably
Mhm.
why they haven't brought it up, because you're going to have to wait to see if defense calls him, would be my guess. Right, or the Lexus went to space. We could have went to space, bro.
They could have.
And I get that guy's point. I do. Anything is possible, but is it probable? I totally get the point that guy was making, and I just thought it was funny. But I mean, he's right. He
I
is
mean,
right there.
it's possible I could wind up doing the hokey pokey with Jackson when he's not in court, but is it probable?
No, he's going to be back tomorrow, Joe. He's going to be back tomorrow. So make sure you're here tomorrow when we get to watch more of this bananery. Because that's what I really feel. And I think Alessi's going to come in tomorrow just feeling like $1 million. Like, all right,
Mhm.
I get the kind of guy this guy is. Because I think he was maybe a little disarmed by this guy a bit.
He was frustrated with him. You could tell
Mhm.
he was having a hard time not just reaching out and throttling him.
Yeah, and I feel like when it comes to the lawyers, I feel like Jackson is better in that role
Mhm.
of getting to be a little
Right.
snarky back and
Mhm.
underhanded. Like that's Jackson's really good point. Alessi, on the other hand, not so much have I gotten. I mean, he does get his little jabs in here and there.
Right.
But I do feel like he was a little thrown off by this witness's demeanor and wanting to explain everything and all of that. So I think he's going to come better prepared for who this guy is.
Now that he's gotten a taste of
Mhm.
him.
Yeah.
He can
No,
answer the prosecution questions with no problem. Do you see that? Bing, bang, boom.
oh, so he does know what yes and no means, or I don't know. Oh, who knew? Who knew? Oh my
I wonder if he
goodness.
gets paid extra for being difficult.
Well, just think, the more difficult he is, the more money he's racking in.
Mhm.
Because he's making, I forget what the sheet said, but I mean, he's what, $750 a day probably, because he has a doctorate in the aperture lineup. So he's probably getting $750 a day plus additional money plus his room and board, which again, I'm fine with people getting paid as experts. Totally fine. But you guys, if you missed this morning, Alessi asked him, dropped a number of, first it was $325,000 that Aperture is getting paid. Okay, that was the contract that this man on the stand now, Dr. Welcher, signed. They also put down $44,500 as a down payment, and whatever they rack up in the testimony of Burgess and Dr. Welcher, plus room and board, flights, all of that jazz. I would imagine they have not been billed for that yet, because they usually wait till the end to do that. But like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if I lived there, boy. I hope
They did
people are
not get their
pissed.
money's worth.
They did
I'm
not get
gonna
their
just
money's
say.
worth.
They did not, in my opinion.
Not at all. Not at all. Just crazy to me. Maybe the CW only pledged the $400K. That's great.
Maybe Aperture is like the discount experts.
The T-mode ARCA. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I don't even think there's no way ARCA costs $4,000. I mean, maybe. But like,
Um,
I don't know. Well, they already ran some of the tests before. They're so those some of the tests they did and everything was already paid for by the
right.
feds. So I imagine ARCA does cost a pretty penny. Don't get me wrong, but maybe there's a lot that they don't have to do this time around to make the bill so high. You know.
Maybe one of our wonderful researchers will go find what they made for the last trial and we can figure it out.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they will. You missed everything, RTC. Well, listen. Go back and watch this whole stream, okay? Because I know my mom's going to call me in about an hour and be like, "What did I miss?" And I'm going to tell her, "Go
Just
watch my stream," because I can't even tell you. It's worth watching over again because he's going to be on the stand again tomorrow. So you might as well prepare yourself for what we saw today, for what we're going to see tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is only going to be a half day. We're going to be here till about 1:30, she said, maybe a little earlier, but since he likes to be a pain, Bev said we're only going to have a 20-minute break tomorrow, but who knows?
will she start on time too?
Will she start on time? So it's supposed to be regular time tomorrow. So I'll be here at 8:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Hopefully they will start on time. But you guys, tonight I'll be recording Couch Court with Llama After Dark right after this. And then I'm going to get a shower and I'm going to make myself look fabulous because I just came a hot mess today. And then at 8:00 p.m. Eastern tonight, me and Terry are doing a members only, which is going to be lots of fun, I've heard. I'm very excited. I've already started drinking because Terry told me I had to.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
the
getting
boss
ready to
lady, so.
start. I just have to wait 25 more minutes.
So come join us in members only tonight where we let our hair down. Who knows what else we're
Oh,
going to lay
wait.
down. I don't know.
RTC, you're at the dentist today. Tomorrow night on True Crime and Wine Time, we're going to be talking about the dentist turned serial killer.
Yes. I'm very excited to hear that. I know nothing about it. So, let's see. Yes, there it is. 8 p.m. tomorrow. True Crime and Wine Time with Terry and Captain. It's going to be great. All right, kiddos. Listen, I got to wrap up because y'all are going to see me very, very soon. Anyway, so I'll see you all at our members only. Terry, thank you so much for coming on today. I was thinking to myself, I was like, when you showed up, I was like, no way Terry was going to go all afternoon without having something to say
I
about this guy.
was having a really hard time. I even had a work call and I said, can we talk after I finish this guy?
Okay, thanks. Great.
Yeah. But I mean, and I'm struggling. He's from Aperture, just like Burgess.
Mhm.
It's just.
It's difficult.
It is.
It's very difficult. All right. We will see you all tonight that can be there. Otherwise, I will see you all at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow when we do day 23 of the Karen Reed trial and see what we can figure out. All right. So until then, go forth and be amazing. And I will see you all here in a little bit or tomorrow, whichever happens. But anyway, bye.